I'm Chase.
And I'm Timothy.
And this is Customer Service. And we are back. It is a new year. I don't know. I got it all fucked up. I'm all out of whack. I mean,
is this our first one of the new year? This is.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to think. It is the first one.
I think the last one we did was on New Year's Eve.
Okay, so it's not.
I think it might have come out. I don't know when it came out. I don't remember now.
Yeah.
But anyway,
How
Happy
we
New
doing?
Year. 2025. Nothing feels different. Same old,
honestly,
same old.
Yeah, it's just colder in heck.
Mm-hmm.
Really cold.
Yep.
But yeah, we're back. It is me, you in the room, and we also have.
Yeah, I think we have to.
We have to call it out.
We have to address the elephant in the room on a couple levels. Number one, if you're listening for the first time in 2025, so we're switching everything up. The logo should be different. Mm-hmm. We have Cole in the room, super producer Cole.
Super producer Cole.
Yo, can you guys hear me? Yes, you can.
I don't know. We don't have headphones on. So Cole's helping us out. He's gonna help us make make it sound a little bit better, help us get it going where it's supposed to go, just professionalize the whole thing a little bit. I mean, we were just talking like it's really weird to be nearing 200 episodes now when we said let's just do like 20 and then see like
what happens.
What they're like. We'll see if we can
20.
get some guests. And then like somewhere around like 40, we're like, let's just get to 100. That would be cool if we got to 100 and we'll see if it's doing well. And, and now we don't even really ask. It's just a thing we have to do now. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that in any sort of negative way. It's just sort of like it's become a part of work. Yeah. People really like it. We get a lot of nice things, which is extremely nice of people. It's incredibly odd as to, we've said this before, it's incredibly odd as to introverted people to know this much about our personal life, but
yeah, because
I don't think about it either, to be honest with you.
You would agree that you're a pretty private person, no?
Yeah, I'm fairly private. Yeah,
I
mean, it's hard to look you in the eyes and say that as I talk into a microphone and we talk about everything we did when we were kids. But
no, but I'm
yes.
private in so many ways. In that I don't really. If it wasn't for this, I wouldn't have a podcast. You know what I'm saying? But I really enjoy it here because with me and you, it doesn't. Again, I black out in the booth and then I forget it goes anywhere. Really, to be honest with you.
I like socializing, especially when it's one-on-one. Like I would much prefer to go on a first date than go to a party with a bunch of people, even if it's people I know. Because at least I'll get something out of that. If we're just talking. If it's like if I'm just chit-chatting with a bunch of, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? What are they?
You don't like the meanerless conversation.
Because I don't care and I know they don't care.
Yeah.
And I have troubles with that social nicety. You know what I mean? Of this. Yeah. So like I don't mind, like what we do is fine. I like doing that.
Yeah, this
Plus
is great.
we like each other. We're at work all the time doing this anyway. It made sense.
I don't even think about where it goes, to be honest with you. We just come and do this thing and it's a fun
And then a week later people are like, you said X, Y, or Z. And I'm like, what was that? What could we have been?
Probably did.
What were we talking about?
Yeah. So, but real quick, back to Cole. Cole's been on the pod before, but if you just want to give yourself one more quick, just so everybody kind of knows who you are and what you do.
Yeah, totally. Well, I'm the newest member here at Canoe Club, which I'm super happy about. Joined in kind of right a week before Black Friday, so it's kind of a way to jump in. But it's been awesome. But yeah, I'm helping out a little bit with the audio stuff here, making it nice and clean.
Crispy
is the end game here. But yeah, I'm happy to be here with you guys.
Yeah, we're gonna have him jump. First, we're starting out with just cleaning up the sound of the podcast, refreshing the look. We're doing that kind of across the board 2025 things, and
we can talk about that after you wrap up.
Yeah. And then we're going to slowly start to upgrade the video a little bit. We're gonna upgrade the equipment a little bit. We're making investments for everybody that really loves this, because I don't want to say that we weren't taking it seriously. It's just there's this weird fine line with this where it's we really wanted to make it feel organic and honest and just like a regular conversation with people that run a store, so we can talk about clothes, we can talk about things going on in fashion, we can also talk to each other. And hopefully it was always meant to just sort of be this extra thing that we did for our customers that was just fun to chit chat with people, showcase that we're just normal people. There's nothing there's no facade or anything like that. And we just thought it would be fun for the people, and everyone likes it. So we're just trying to invest in that a little bit more and respect and the listener, and try to upgrade the social media a bit to reflect that, push it a little bit more, clip it up, so everyone can get it however they want it, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know, it's just that kind of thing. Nothing too serious.
Not too serious.
Yeah.
We need Johnny
Too serious.
Pemberton on the pod.
Mm-hmm.
If
Classic.
anybody out there is listening and you're familiar with Johnny Pemberton, he plays Bo in Superstore.
I really feel like we could get him on the pod.
I would
if we
love to
just
get him on the
we have
pod.
never. Sometimes we say these things, but we never even like tried. We just call it out.
There's been a couple people, Kyle Mooney being one of them.
Mhm.
I would love. This is the thing.
They
I got many
agents and
thoughts that I
stuff.
need to work through here. One, I think some of the people we like might be a little bigger than we think. Kyle Mooney's an edge case. I know him from his YouTube channel, Kyle, of the guy that smokes weed with, and the guy that goes through and does awkward interviews for
I would say
baseball
that
and reptile
basically
conventions
all
and
his
shit.
characters are extensively the guys from back home that we're talking about. They're all, he just is doing bits of like
The guy that got you into the dorm room by pulling a bunch of coins out of his pocket. That's just a Kyle Mooney bit,
character.
Dude. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he might be his little cousin that I mean. That was inspo. So, Kyle Mooney, his minimums to talk.
Don't talk anyone's minimums.
No, but I'm saying they're not within our realm. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
He is a big hard.
This is
get.
what it is, dude. If we lived in LA or New York and could just meet some people and dap them up, be like, come on, talk to us, it would be fine.
Yeah.
The problem is we don't, so we're just going through like rant, and we're not even working that hard. We're just shooting random DMs over to people that we like and just saying what's up.
But Johnny Pemberton, while he is gaining more fame, it appears we've liked him as primarily podcast guest, just from clips. You've showed me clips of what is it? It's who's the fella?
Oh,
Pete
Holmes.
Pete Holmes podcast. Listen to any episodes of Pete Holmes and Johnny Pemberton of him having it on. You Made It Weird, I think is the name of the pod. Anyway,
they're old episodes. I don't even know if they're like on regular. You might have to do them through YouTube.
You're looking for beautiful wool suits. That would be the bit. So if you're
if you just look that up, I know this from looking that up.
Beautiful
that'll
wool
get
suits,
you.
Johnny Pemberton.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
You said you had to work through some thoughts, but that's all.
Well, that was the one thought, and then the other thought was Kyle Mooney. So
it was just two. That feels right.
It might just be all of them.
Okay, what else is going on?
It's the new year.
We talked kind of like New Year's stuff.
We did, yeah. I mean, what'd you do this weekend? Do you guys get anything fun? Because we're coming off the heels of the weekend.
No.
No?
No, we didn't really do much of anything. I'm trying to think. I mean, but I think we just like ran errands, and then like all the days felt long, weirdly,
Interesting.
And I didn't really do much, dude. I didn't really even watch movies. I watched part of the Golden Globes, but they're crooked, so
I watched some of it too.
Yeah.
I watched some of the Golden Globes last night.
I don't like the Golden Globes. I like the Oscars. You know what I mean? I like red carpet events. I watched the red carpet.
Can you
after
tell
that,
me
Nikki Glazer's
ranking
monologue was good.
Of the pedigree? Is Golden Globes the pinnacle?
No, Oscars is the pinnacle.
Somebody last night, I want to say was Seth Rogen, because I was flipping between the Detroit Lions Vikings game and the Golden Globes. And
Golden Globes includes TV, so that's that's
somebody. I think Seth Rogen said this is the pinnacle of award shows, this and that. And I don't
that
know.
wasn't half
They're all
bad,
kind of the
Seth
same.
Rogen. To be honest, if you would have committed, I think it would have
If
been.
had I just smoked a joint, and just came in from Canada, then maybe I would have had it right.
I just always feel like the things that they choose and the categories they have are bad. I don't like how they choose them. It's always the same people. It's the same stuff. It feels like it feels like kind of bureaucratic more than, I mean, all of them are, but that one feels worse. The winners never make any sense to me.
I thought the same thing, Timothy. I know that, again, I can't keep them straight, but we have, because YouTube TV has them and they push them to you, so when they're on, fuck yeah, we'll watch it. There was one we watched, I don't know, man. I don't know which one it was, but it felt
what
like...
What do you mean?
Another award show.
Okay,
it wouldn't have been
yeah.
music, so whatever the music one, I wouldn't have watched
Yeah,
that. Another show, TV, movie, whatever. And this one felt like, similar to what you're saying, kind of like, all right, really fucking broad categories. It would be like top female lead in a show or movie for TV or short series. And it was like, well, this is so arbitrary, it feels like. Like, did you just make this category up because you wanted to have these 6 things together?
Well, and listen, I was talking to Abby about it. It's annoying because, a lot of people complain about, like, the obvious one is like The Bear being a comedy, because they can't handle if there's any joke in a show or
It's
a
not
movie
comedy.
at all. And I mean, like, any sort of sense of humor at all, they put it into a comedy category. I mean, The Substance was in a comedy category, and you're like, I can maybe see it as satire, but come on. I mean, like, it's just the categories don't really make any sense. The nominees don't make a ton of sense to me. Like, these are not the best things, you know. In some cases, sure, you know, you know, but I don't know. Across the board, I always just feel like it's a mess, and you know. They also let people talk too long in the Golden Globes. I don't know why. Compared to the Oscars, will hard play you off. They don't care. They'll cut
They
the
just
mic.
play the music and
They play the music and it goes quick and they'll cut that mic. I like it, man. Keep it moving. And they let people go on too long at the Golden Globes. I mean, I don't know. It's okay. As someone who likes award shows, that one is like a C+ for me. Like, I'll watch it, but I'm not like, I bailed on it halfway through even because it was kind of boring.
Yeah.
No drama, no nothing.
Yeah.
Clothes were sort of mid.
When did
Runway's bad, dude. Runway's as bad as like the tunnel outfits and all that other shit. It's just so obnoxious at this point. Like, I just think it's bad.
Yeah.
No one's classy. It doesn't feel like anyone's sauced up or having fun or cool.
Well,
it just
no.
feels sort of
that reminds me, nobody's saucy or sauced up reminds me, because we were just talking about the famous Anderson Cooper and Andy
Oh, they're back
Cohen.
Did you watch?
No, but I did see they were back.
They were back and they were drinking.
They were?
Oh yeah, baby.
Were they being wild?
I think
Maybe
that
enough people were like, dude, just
enough
let them
people
rip.
like me was like, just like let him go, baby. We
That
love
was the
it.
fun. Okay,
Yeah,
well,
so
that
they let
being
him.
said,
They let him
bro,
go again. They like got in arguments a couple times on the show. I saved a
Like,
bunch
for
of the
real?
clips. Yeah, I love it.
Oh, that sounds sick.
It was great.
Yeah, I mean, for the record, I think that those two would be a real hoot to go have a couple drinks with. You know?
Mm-hmm. Them interviewing Diplo is all time for me. That's like one of the best interviews I've ever
Did
seen.
it just happen, or you're saying was that from
It just
when they were
happened.
hammered?
No, it just happened. They were loaded this time too. Just
Sick.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, that makes me happy. If you wouldn't mind feeding me a couple clips, I would love to consume
No problem.
them.
Get an Instagram burner account and I'll send it to you. I'm not doing this. I'm not. I've told you before. It's perverted that you make me send you an Instagram link via
Yeah, text.
I won't do it. I won't unless it's an emergency. I'm not doing it.
Understood. I get where you're coming from. I want to say, though, in regards to being sauced up, I do believe, maybe I don't know Michael Keaton well enough to know how his mouth works.
And he's a weird guy.
But, buddy, he may have been hammered last night. He came up and he starts his speech kind of with a wild cadence. He kind of just like fell into it and he slurred one of the first couple words. It just kind of, and again, he might just have a funny mouth. And that just might be the case, you know.
I'd have to see it. I don't know
like,
that I saw
who
this.
who plays Robert California? David Spader.
Yeah.
He's got quite a mouth on him. The way he moves his tongue is wild.
No.
Yeah,
Hold
that's
on.
it.
It's not David Spader. What is it? Look it up. It's,
Yeah, but we got called
You're
producer.
thinking David Spade, and you just put an R at the end.
No, it is Spader though.
Yeah, you're right. It can't be David Spader.
Robert California.
I can't think of it now off the top of my head.
James
There we go,
Spader.
yeah. David Spader.
So James Spader. Now you watch Robert California in The Office. He's got a serpent-like mouth about him.
Yeah,
You know
if
what I
anyone was
mean?
trying to make the case for like lizard people, he would be a good start.
And the way that he moves, that's his thing with his tongue. Anyway, so maybe Michael Keaton has a mouth thing that I don't understand. But then, so he kind of all but falls into his monologue. And then at the end, where you know how they're like, and the winner is, and they're doing this, you hear like he like kind of like, boom, like crank the mic, and you hear him go, "Oh, sorry about that." It was just like I think he was drunk. So maybe you watch it.
I think that you're also not used to live TV. This is what I miss. This is what I miss. The awkward, weird shit that people will do, and especially when it's celebrities. My only. If all I accomplished in life was getting some sort of ability to go to like the Oscars or something, I don't need. I can be in the pit, man. I just want to be around celebrities in like a. Why can't I think of the word? A field trip sort of situation.
Sure.
See what I'm saying? They don't really want to be there, but they have to. So the way you act, it's like the way people act at work parties, where it's like
they're not
you're
maybe viewing it as such a party.
You have to be there, so why not goof around a little bit? I don't think half these people even care about it, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like I like that energy is very funny to me.
Yeah. No, I get you, and that's an interesting point that they're like probably like, fuck. In fact, one of the fellas, there was a Japanese actor that won something for Shogun. And one, it was very cute because he exclaimed at the end of his speech, I am happy.
Yeah.
Which I thought
Yeah.
was like, there must be a translation where that might, the direct translation to an expression in Japanese. We don't say, I am happy.
Yeah.
You express it, but I thought it was really cute and endearing. But he did say, he goes, all right, well, I got to go because I got to fly back to Tokyo tonight because I need to film first thing in the morning. So a lot of these people probably are like,
It's work.
all right,
Yeah.
well, I got to fucking go
Yeah.
get back on a plane and do this. And then I got 6 hours of sleep because then I got to do this. So I could see that.
And you got to remember, like, these celebrities do this like 55 times a week. You know what I mean? You have to go to these press things. You have to put
Get
on a
dressed
show.
up
You
and-
have to wear certain clothes. You can't be yourself, really. You have to be the actor version of yourself. You have to be careful because everyone's trying to trap you. Everyone's trying to get a shot of you doing something that you're not, or like, yeah, exactly. So it's like, it would just be, listen, I'm not trying to be like, I feel for celebrities because it's like, you knew what was going to happen. This is what goes with it. But I also kind of do believe we should just leave them alone. But I also think that if you watch old, like Oscars, like shows, you can do it on YouTube. I love doing it. There's an energy where it feels a little bit more like the actors really want to be there because it's like them, actors night out kind of thing.
Yeah.
So everyone was seems like everyone's doing it after and everyone's drunken on
slinking
drugs
around
and,
a little bit. Yeah.
And everyone's being naughty. You know what I mean? And I really like that because it just feels sort of like old Hollywood and glamorous and fun.
Yeah, no, I got you.
And it also felt like it was more packed. Like now it's basically it's just actors and it's all set up so they can get cut shots to actors.
Yeah.
And it used to just be like them and all their weird friends. You know what I mean? And like it just felt a little rowdier.
Yeah.
I miss that a little bit. But
yeah.
still love live TV, any sort of live TV. I mean, if sports wasn't sports, I would like it because it's live. But
Isn't it funny how that happened though? Because I still very much so remember, it's not like it was fucking 40 years ago, but like I remember the era of, all right, well, what's in the queue for Netflix? When are we going to get the DVD type shit?
Yeah, sure.
Like pre-streaming, and then everything became streaming, and that became readily available, and that was the norm. And now Netflix is doing these live events. The David Chang show that was filmed weekly. I think he has like 28 or 30 episodes of that, and then the various other. They hosted 2 NFL games on Christmas, and long story short, I too am now yearning for things to be live. I don't know what it is, but it's exciting. When it's like, wow, everybody in America that is watching this is sitting at.
Yeah.
It's like I miss that camaraderie.
Back then, when there was nothing else to do or watch, and there was no social media, it really was everybody watching. You know what I mean? So like that kind of pressure also feels like crazy too.
Yeah, I think it puts it on another level. In terms of real quick, I want to call it a couple more things that I saw. So somebody needs to tell me if Michael Keaton was drunk or if his mouth is just like that.
Might have probably mixture of both. I think he's kind of notoriously into weed too. So maybe
oh fuck yeah,
maybe
no, Timbo. I mean, this is like
devil's cocktail.
He's talking like me walking back from the bathroom after 3 Negronis. You know what I'm saying? Where like you're good and you just
looked at yourself in the mirror for a minute.
Yeah,
and you're still on good terms with yourself at that point.
Yeah. But funny. I saw a couple people and I was like, oh shit, Ed Norton. I like him. You know what I mean? I don't know a lot of celebrities. He's one that I know by name.
Baby, but yeah.
Well, he's great in the movies that I've seen. I'm thinking of not even Fight Club. There's something else that I really like him in. But anyway, yeah, Cole, if you want to pull up his list, his catalog.
You want him to pull up all of Ed Norton's filmography? What are you going to sit there and read it for half an hour? He's like been in a million things.
Oh, see, none of these are really striking.
It's gonna be the weirdest thing that you've ever heard of that he's waiting on. That he's
Sausage Party. That's it.
Yeah, that would not have surprised me even that much.
No, but anyway, so I say, oh shit, look, that's Ed Norton, and then I go, oh look, it's Chalamet, and I was like, wait, is that one of the fucking Jenners? And I was like, oh fuck, they're dating. Yeah. That blows my mind. So I saw maybe that's the first time I'd ever seen them. Like together. I know that people say they're dating, but
they go to like sports together and kiss at sports games and stuff.
It's not a show.
They're always canoodling. No, why is it a show?
I don't know. I just feel like it's just like an odd pairing. You know what I mean?
Look, I mean, Travis Scott to Chalamet is pretty wild. I'm not going to disagree.
Saying.
But if like your relationship with Travis Scott wasn't great, maybe you switch things up and go for like the polar opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get Chalamet. Plus, he seems like a nice guy. Whenever he's interviewed, I'm like, I like this guy.
I was just going to say, I just listened to him on I listened to the beginning of him on like Theo Von podcast or something. You know what I mean?
He's been doing one of the most cursed like media runs I've ever seen. It's doing
Chalamet
Nardwuar
or Theo
and shit.
Von?
Chalamet.
Because I mean, you could also look through the past dozen guests on the Theo Von podcast and be like, how the fuck? How is this happening?
Somehow got into like took Mark Maron's shoes, and they're just like feed him any random person.
He had Bernie Sanders. I think he also
Kate
had
Blanchett's
Trump.
gonna be on it.
He'll interview like garbage men, but then he had Chalamet, and then he had on some other politician or something. It's just crazy to me. But I did listen to Chalamet, and it's like, oh, you are like a pretty normal kid.
He's like a nice guy.
He's like a nice guy. I think that I like Chalamet. And then what else is he just in?
He's got, the problem is, I mean, even the jokes they were making about him last night is like,
I didn't.
It's hard to look at like I haven't gone and seen the Bob Dylan movie, and it's more just because it for some reason it's only showing at 10:30.
Yeah,
it's driving me. I don't want to go. It's like, it's. I like going late, but that's like a commitment if I'm to watch a 3-hour Chalamet Bob Dylan movie. And the problem is, it's like there's no version where I get involved in that movie and suddenly I didn't even think about that being Chalamet anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like no matter what, you're just thinking Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
The only time we didn't think of that was Little Women and Call Me by Your Name, and after that, we were all like, we know that guy.
Yeah.
He had sex with a peach. Like it ain't leaving our heads now.
Yeah.
We know that that's Chalamet, and he's always doing weird stuff. And now he's just that guy. It's like he's too famous already to do roles, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's fair. He's Chalamet.
Yeah.
Similarly to like, who else? Denzel. Denzel is above any role he plays because first he's Denzel Washington.
Yeah. Did you like the Nikki Glaser monologue? She did a pretty good job. I'm not a big Nikki Glaser fan.
I didn't catch it. To be honest with you, I don't think I caught.
It was good.
I think I saw only one of her bits. Because again, I was popping back and forth between football.
Two-time Holocaust survivor Adrian Brody was one of the funniest
Oh
lines
my God.
from because of the good.
Yeah,
it's so funny. I mean, it was fine. It's fine. It wasn't. I don't know.
Speaking of her, because I wasn't familiar with her game, so to speak, until me and Mishan, she had watched it previously. I just watched the Tom Brady roast not long ago.
Oh yeah. I think that's really. I mean, she got a lot of.
There were some bits.
Some people, it's kind of like Mulaney is sort of built for this. It's like hosting is just like kind of perfect for them because they're famous enough and they can like run with that crowd enough that it doesn't feel like it's just shots, but it also feels like not scared to, be in trouble.
Totally.
So there's like a nice, like they're able to ride a line where it's like fun.
100%.
Because, sometimes they brought out people and it's just like, challenging joke after challenging joke after challenge. And you're like, okay, all right, we get it. They all suck. We know that. That's not like, we can all agree. We don't need all the mean jokes about it's just, it's not doing anything for anybody. You know what I mean? It's like kind of self-service at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. I like when someone actually does a good job at it and really ribs people, but also has a lane and like a point of view and stuff. And so she's good.
Did you watch the Tom Brady roast?
Uh-huh.
There's some bits that she does that I can't repeat on the pod, but I was literally crying in my house, howling. Speaking of live, the John Mulaney show. Hopefully, give him that full time. I want that 50 weeks out of the year. Give him 2 weeks off.
The only thing I liked, I mean, and like he talked about it, but like the only thing I liked about it being short is it's like, his whole like, we don't have a rhythm and we're never going to find it thing.
Yeah.
And then it was like everything was throwaway. You could tell he didn't give a shit. Like if it started going off the rails, it's like that he liked it more.
Yeah. And then it cut to Richard Kind busting a fucking gut because he was just really having a good time. I just,
The what kind of car do you drive question? So funny.
Yeah. Wait, before you go, what kind of car do you drive? Yeah, I love that. So that one was good. Lastly, one more live event that I'd like to talk about, and I wonder if you watched it. I think it was live. Did you watch that? What was it called? It was like a Netflix Jeff Ross thing. It was like a roast.
Oh yeah.
It was like a roast of
King Jeff Ross. Yeah.
It was like a roast of 2024 or something, and that was
I didn't watch it, but
buddy, it was all like they took everything they had and just
I know Jeff
hand
Ross
overhead
though.
threw it at the wall.
Yeah, you could have just. I know what it is.
Yeah,
I don't
you know exactly what it is.
I know. Yeah.
You should watch it though, just because there was a couple bits that I thought were funny. John Stamos playing drums.
Oh yeah.
As like a late night drummer.
He's like a ripper, dude. He's like he was legitimate. He was Jesse. You know.
He is so cool and he's so handsome still.
Yeah.
He's just one of those dudes that has gotten more handsome as he ages. You know what I mean, like Brad Pitt. But yeah, the Jeff Ross that Torching 2024, a roast of the year is what it was called. What a shit show, dude. It'd be
Yeah.
like, they planned it the night before and it was like,
Yeah.
fuck it, just text everybody in your contacts
will be
list and
funny,
see if they
yeah.
can show up. Yeah, yeah. All right,
Anything-
so this weekend, you didn't do anything fun this weekend.
No, I really didn't. No,
Nice.
I ran errands. You
Nice.
did you do anything nice?
Saturday, woke up, went with Buddy and his wife to get went to a bakery out in Longmont.
I've never watched anyone like you who is so careful to not call out people's names,
I'm trying to be respectful.
but you will give away any like secret that we have for the business or anything. You'll toss that right in here.
Yeah.
Like you are so careful in one area and so like just out of control in others. Go ahead.
Hey, I'm dialing it in,
But
but
anyway, so
we went to a bakery,
with Mystery Man.
just went and kicked it for
Mm-hmm.
a couple hours at the bakery. And then went home and putzed around, did nothing. And then yesterday we went out to Coops and jumped on the trampoline and ate a bunch of food and watched some football. And yeah, it was good.
Business as usual.
Business as usual.
Mhm.
Did you hear about the foot debacle with Gigi?
Yeah, I heard that. Any sort of like the thing is, here's the mistake you guys made is like calling it twisted your ankle, and she was like, never heard that one before. So now I'm gonna ride that lightning as far as I can.
See, what it was because
She asked if she could. She didn't end up having school today. We thought she had school today. She didn't have school today. And she was like, I'm going to tell my teacher. I'm going to tell my other teacher. I'm going to tell my friends about the twisted ankle. And I'm like, okay, you can't be telling this many people about a twisted. Now, you know what I mean? But then I was like, also like, oh, we're probably going to have to tell the teachers when we walk up because she can't be like doing the limp. She's fine, just to be clear.
That's what I want to talk about. It's so funny to see.
If she
because
remembers it, she'll do a little bit.
Yeah.
But for the most, it's nothing.
We were all jumping and we were taking turns doing her trick. You know what I mean? Where she'll do a trick and
Mhm.
one of us will say, wow, that's so cool. And then we'll do a trick and this and that. And then so we're kind of just standing around bullshitting and she starts crying and we're like,
I want to make it clear that she is 5 and you guys are what,
I think
30
we're
something?
2 29-year-olds and a 32-year-old on the trampoline.
Got it.
But it's like, it's normal. We didn't even think about it. She
Mhm.
just kicks it with us. So
I just wanted to paint the picture for the
yeah,
listener.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we're on a fenced-in trampoline, and we're just standing around bullshitting for a second. Boone was telling us a story about something wild that happened to him over the weekend, which I'll tell you off air, which was crazy. But we're standing there, and then G starts crying. So we're like, "Oh!" Our first thought was like, "Oh, do you want us to get out of the way? Like, are we taking up too much? Do you want to do some tricks?" And she goes, "No, my foot went like this," and she goes, and we're like, "Oh, okay." So I carry her off the trampoline. Cooper carries her inside, and she's all good. Within 20 minutes, though, dude, she was running around doing like little dances, and then would remember and then kick it back into gear.
Mhm.
But it's just so funny. Today she comes in, she goes, "Yeah, I twisted my ankle yesterday," and then fucking does a 360 spin like she's
Yeah.
a ballerina.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When she was younger, I don't think we ever talked about this. Would have been pre-pod, I believe. She was really little, and she was at the studio, remember?
Mhm.
And she did like a twist, and then like fell down. But she was really little. You know, she could talk, but not really. You know what I mean? And she said that her leg hurt really bad, and she was
Yeah.
crying a ton, and it was like a whole thing. So we're like, well, fuck, you know what I mean? Like we waited like most of the day, and we're like, all right, let's just take her to the hospital. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what this is. So, and you know, she's a kid. They can't really tell you.
At
You
this
don't
point,
know
she
what's
couldn't, like,
real and what's
tell,
not.
yeah.
You know, and we're first time parents, so we believe everything. And you know, the amount of things you go through with a kid, where it's like, oh, they don't tell you like, oh, kids just like choke a lot. You know what I mean? They'll clear out a room from choking, and then you'll just think they're gonna die, and then they're okay. You know, and that just happens like a couple times a week. You know,
Dude.
and so we're also new, so we're freaked out. So we take her to the hospital. They're like, yeah, they like X-ray it, and they're like, yeah, I mean, we don't see anything. You know, blah blah blah. They ended up getting her in a boot, like a little boot, like a smallest boot you've ever seen. You know what I mean? But they're like, you know, there's nothing wrong with it that we can tell, you know. So she wears the boot on. She's refusing to walk. This had then become a giant pain in the ass because we're having to like carry her everywhere. She can't do certain things. It's like a whole thing. And ultimately, like one day, I was like, Abby and I were both going through it, just like work and life and blah blah blah. And she's got this fucking leg thing, and I wasn't trying to be insensitive. It just this has gone on a while, and I'm like, I know it's not real because I've seen her like. I've seen her walk a couple times. You know what I mean?
She'll kick it into gear.
I go to a park. At the park she likes to go to. I pull up outside and I'm just like, Gia, I know that you're like 2, but I need to talk to you like an adult here for a minute. And I was like, and I'm just like, listen, this is really hard on me. This is hard on mom. this has made life kind of difficult, and we're already dealing with stuff, and I just need you to just, if it doesn't hurt, I need you to just drop the act, okay? And I was like, we just need to and I'm like, I'm sorry that I'm talking to you like you're not a kid, but I just need you to hear it like an adult. And I was like, did you hear me? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, all right. And I said, so let's get out of the car and go to the park. And she literally just gets out of the car, runs over to the park, and then it never came up again.
And then
I
it was
like,
yeah.
So I just had to like level with her. I've had to do that like 2 or 3 times in her life so far, where it's like, I just need to talk to you like you're my age for a minute.
I've seen you stop down and be like, gee, and very calmly explain to her, this is the situation.
Mm-hmm.
We can handle it however it needs to be handled, but I just need you to be straight with me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And she will stop the act and level with you.
She's
really smart.
I don't know anything about parenting. I'm not going to claim I do, but I also know that like that's what I wanted when I was a kid. Is you just want to be talked to like an adult. You know what I mean? You just want to be treated like everyone else in the room.
Yeah.
Even when it's not fun. And then if like I don't understand being upset with anyone ever really. If someone's willing to have the conversation. Like if you want to have a real conversation, I don't need to be upset. We can just do that.
Yeah.
And then, I can leave and still be like, dude's an idiot. But
yeah.
We talked about it. It's fine.
Yeah.
So it's how I try to handle kid scenarios.
Yeah. Fair.
It seems to be fine.
Yeah.
But no one knows what they're doing.
It seems to register.
I'll write my own book.
Yeah.
Sleeves pulled up like the Michael Scott one.
Yeah.
How do I manage or whatever it's called?
Yeah.
All right. So another elephant in the room that we should probably address news-wise is the whole Capitol situation.
Oh yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah. So this was like some gossip. Sorry, I was messing with it. This was like some gossip that I'd heard kind of, you hear things around the block, but you never know what's real and what's not. And it's like gauche to ask, who would I ask? And I'm not one of the guys who's going to be like, let's run this up to a handful of people I know and see if I can get an answer,
Yeah.
I have never, I will admit, seen such a crazy reaction to something in my life. I gotta admit, like this is a wild response from people to me over like a business move. Now listen, I understand that like LVMH gets called the devil a lot, in our world, but I also believe that's for one reason and one reason alone. I mean, other than they're a big corporation, but okay, so look, were we going to be mad at Whole Foods and every other thing that we have to interact with in a day? Like, I don't think that's worth our time. But everyone like talks about the Supreme thing with LVMH, and it's like, guys, come on, Supreme
does everybody
shit for years before that was.
Didn't LVMH buy it after VF? After VF, or
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, but nobody's mad about VF buying it and selling it for a loss.
No, everyone should. Here's the thing. This is my opinion on who owns what, when, why, and how. Look, does it mean that there could be changes? Sure, but they're not always negative. In fact, there's 2 brands that we carry. I won't shout them out. People can do their own homework, but like, because apparently, like, this is, the death of a brand, but it hasn't been in the cases I'm aware of. The thing is, to me, yes, can it mean bad things? Of course. You know what I mean? Like, there's certainly times where it's like certain companies will have like a really strict like sales or profit, thing they want to hit, and they can force that upon, the brand and whatever. And I get all that. Totally get all that. And I'm not saying that's not what's going to happen. I don't know. No one knows. I mean, that's Capital and LVMH's business. And just to be clear, this is like an element of LVMH. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that they don't own it or whatever, but like it's not necessarily like, there's a lot of different variations of LVMH buying a company, and this is
it's like a massive
it's
corporate.
one of them. You know what I mean? Like, and it's off to the it doesn't matter. I think the only thing that matters is like the work. It doesn't matter how you're getting funded or how you're using funding. Like, no, that's a little gauche to talk about, I think, in some cases. Like, look, certainly if they're in 1 million stores, that sucks, suddenly, because that changes the vibe. If they open up their own online retail in the US or worldwide or something like that, that would suck for us. It'd probably be fine for them realistically. And it takes away the like ability to storytell and the trust that people have in, retailers and multi-brand and things like that. But it's fashion and it's a business and it's an ever evolving one, and you have to accept certain things, whether you like them or not. And there's a million different versions of this, and I can see half of them being bad and half of them no one would ever notice, And from what I know of people buying companies, this isn't something that happens quickly. This didn't happen like last weekend. And I heard people even like saying like, oh, this had something to do with the fashion show. It's like the fashion show was like for their 40th anniversary or whatever. It had nothing to do with, I don't remember
40th
what I
anniversary
don't know if it was
and-
40th or what the number was, but it was for their something anniversary. And because the father passed away and it was like a dedication to him.
And
Like,
also,
nothing
as
to do with
as two people who were there,
yeah.
this was never discussed.
The
They never
vi-
said, "Hey guys,
yeah.
we're," and also a
The
portion of
vibe
the
was
company is
very
being
personal.
Yes.
It was like personal retailers and people that have worked with the brand for like years.
Yes.
Being pretty emotional over like what the situation was. And I'm
It was
sure
a very
that
earnest time. There
Yeah.
was no business talk.
No. And I think that like I think that people look for the ugliness in something suddenly if they don't like a move that they made. But like I said, that move could be for a lot of different reasons. You know what I mean? And they're not for me to speculate on, right now and how they handle their business. I don't tell anyone how we've prided ourselves on this for years. I don't threaten a brand or tell them how to operate or anything like that. That's their business. I'm happy to represent and, look, have brands taken different directions in the, in the many years I've done this and you're like, ugh, that sucks. I didn't want, that doesn't jive with what we do or whatever. Sure. Just as the way things go, and I'm not, like I said, I have no information here. You know what I mean? I really don't have any specific information. I don't know how it'll be handled, but I can also tell you from the inside, like they are doing nothing. In fact, making opposite moves, I would say, than to like overexpand.
100%. That's what I was.
yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Is like, as a person who's dealt with capital for the whole time I've worked here with you, both selling the product and now in a much more intimate way, we've gone to Japan 3 times specifically to buy capital. I import all the goods. I'm very much so in the realm of what they're doing seasonally. Like you said, I don't think anything capital is doing is like, let's just do it this way because it's easier or because it'll make more money.
No.
Or that's literally like, I think that those are the last things they're thinking of. At the absolute pinnacle is just like, what do we want to do? And then we're going to unabashedly do that despite whatever anybody else thinks. How many times in the last 4 or 5 years have they gotten in trouble on Instagram for some, kind of weird campaign? You know what I mean? But all just to say, capital's going to do what they want to do regardless. So I'd be very surprised to see that this is happening, that it changes because their father passed away. That is the...
Yeah, I think that first of all, like, goodness gracious, give them a break. The father passed away. He was a huge aspect of that business, and I don't know what that meant for the business side of things. And I don't know Capital's business side of things. Of all brands, they would not let that out there. So I don't know what it means for the brand in total. So like I said, I don't want to sit here and tell you I know exactly what's going on. Just let it go. I'm not telling you that. I don't know what it means. Could be terrible for the brand. I don't know. I would just say that I've worked with Capital for I don't know, at least 15 years now, personally. From the time when they had almost no wholesale accounts outside of Japan to now where they've got many wholesale accounts all around the world. And I think that there's many like steps along the way of Capital becoming the like, force to be reckoned with that it has become. Because when I started with it, it was not that. It was very, very small and niche, and it's become huge. And that alone is difficult to manage. You know what I mean? Like everyone thinks like, oh, you just want growth. But I can tell you that growth is harder to manage than problems. You know what I mean? Like that's a more difficult thing between the two business-wise to manage. We've seen it here. And how they handled that, I don't know. I don't know any of that stuff. But in those 15 years, Capital has never wavered in who it was. As a brand, as a business, they stand on their shit. They will not back down. They have very, very, very strict rules that if you do not follow, they will cut you like it was nothing.
Yeah.
And
We've seen it happen.
It's all in preservation of the brand identity that they have. You know what I mean? So yes, is this maybe a slightly unusual move for them? Maybe, but it could have to do with the business. And I heard everyone, oh, the quality will go down. It's like, what is that information based on? You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand where you're getting that from.
I disagree with that sentiment, but I think I know. I want to ask you if this is where their train of thought is coming from. Is with it now being this is the thing. I don't understand IPOs, publicly traded companies, stocks, this, that, and the other. With LVMH having ownership, does this mean that Capital is now beholden to the shareholders? Is that why people? Because I know that has been the argument for Birkenstock or something. You know what I mean?
It entirely depends upon the agreement.
I see.
which no one's ever going to know.
That's
That's what I'm saying. So I'm not sure where everyone's getting information that nobody has, that Capital and LVMH have exclusively.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it could be a fact of they need to manage growth, meaning one of their main designers just passed away. You know what I mean? I don't know what his day-to-day involvement looked like. But
he was involved.
Yeah, but he was involved,
Yeah.
and they might need more designers. They might need a way to manage global growth in a way that makes sense for them. There's a lot of things that a bigger company could be helping with that would improve things, you know. And because Capital is so generally unwilling to compromise on its brand and its product and all this other stuff, you know, I don't know. It would surprise me. But not saying I won't be surprised either. I'm not sitting here trying to come at anyone with like any sort of inside information. I'm also not trying to protect a brand just because we carry it, because we carry a bunch of other brands and some of them happen to be owned by LVMH as well. It's it's more coming from like the assumption that that's an immediately a bad choice is not necessarily, I don't support.
Well, I just think it's the catch-all of like sell out. It's gonna get bad now.
Yeah.
I don't. I think that there's merit to the term selling out, but I think that it also is a catch-all for anything that somebody doesn't understand or doesn't necessarily agree with, and that's where I think that's what I think is happening here.
Here's a question I was starting to think about yesterday when I was thinking about the whole thing is, success of a brand. I'm trying to think of how to put this. Think about a band that you loved as a kid, and they're niching from your hometown, and you have this like nostalgia and this connection to them. You know what I mean? And then you see them get a little bit of success. Okay, so they start breaking a little bit. They're doing nice tours. They're getting to go worldwide. People are starting to know them, but they're still a niche brand. I mean, a niche like band or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And you're like, this is great. This is still inside of my world of like, they're bigger and like, you know, I feel this way. This is such a dumb way to feel, but I feel this way about Waxahachie just because I grew up like knowing like P.S. Eliot and stuff, these bands that they did way before. So it was when especially when she's like had her past couple albums that have gotten huge. You know what I mean? So much bigger than I honestly would have guessed, you know, knowing their music prior. And it's awesome for them. And I think that some people manage that transition into a broader audience, especially as you get older, like so well, where it's like, this is still so considered and so smart and so rooted in something, and it's great, and you're still doing you, but you're doing it in a way that it's more palatable and broader and bigger, and maintaining your personality and personal brand while growing your audience.
Sure.
The idea that Capital is still some small niche brand that nobody knows about is nuts. I think that that's just how like our community likes to think about that brand, as like only we know about it.
Yeah,
dude, no one. LeBron James has worn it, I believe. You know what I mean? Like, come on,
bro,
dude.
LeBron James in the tunnel was wearing one of the Peace Pilgrim hats.
I'm just saying, like
and those blew up.
That's a big brand now. You know what I mean? Because that's not a one-time thing. Like, how many like, you know, huge musicians have worn it.
Future and Lucky have the tune Capital Denim.
During the Golden Globes, I saw like a thing for Hollywood Squares, and like there was like two guys wearing Capital sweaters on Hollywood fucking Squares, you know, like a reboot of that. And it's like, buddy, this is a brand that's broken wide. They're huge. And the fact that they've been able to navigate it this long, quite frankly, and still have the integrity and still making weird shit regularly, so much more interesting than most brands out there today. Like they still have such a distinct look and feel, is insane that you would have like been able to scale it even to this middle size. But like, they're not, what do you want them to do? Stop? That feels kind of selfish to me in some regards, of like, you want their business to stop. Like, why can't they can and should be as big as Louis Vuitton. And what I mean by that is all the bullshit bureaucratic stuff that happens in like higher end, you know, once you get into like houses and all this like, you know, big brand kind of stuff. There's one way to do it, and the way sucks, if I'm being honest with you. So why aren't we going to see? I would love to see Capital on that stage. I'd love to see Capital runway on Vogue. I want to see that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Our Women's Wear Daily. I want to see what they can do with a broader audience and a bigger budget and blah blah blah. Could they fumble it? Of course, anybody can. Ralph Lauren regularly has fumbled his shit. You know what I mean? But like the brand's the brand because they've always been able to maintain a certain level and aesthetic and, you know, at different levels.
For the record, yeah, if you love,
I don't want to vote against them just because they're getting bigger. You know what I mean? Like, that seems insane. Like, what are they going to do with that? That's what I want to know. Because I think that, like, you can make a huge impact and still be yourself at a wider, scale. And to act like that hasn't already started to happen is crazy. So I understand people's reactions in that. I think it probably feels like, oh man, all these idiots are now gonna like touch this thing that was so sacred to all of us, and I get that feeling, and I resonate with it, but at the same time, like, I don't want to be. I think it can be a little closed-minded to be like it can only be one thing, and LVMH is a brand killer, because that's also been the case with basically one notorious one, maybe a couple other random ones, and I'm sure a couple other ones that people couldn't even reference. But it's also been the case that a lot of brands have grown and thrived with the right support. So I don't know what the agreement is. I don't know what will happen. No one does, and that's between those two businesses. But here's what I want to do. That's a brand who's, like I said, stood on their shit for a long ass time.
Yeah.
Has made a huge impact in fashion, and even huger impact on the importance of Japanese fashion in America.
Totally.
Specifically and globally. And not only have they been able to bring Japanese tradition and blend it into things and make it feel relevant, but they've also pushed the boundaries of what Japanese fashion is and what it means globally. Yeah. And I think that whatever they do from here, even if they totally turfed and it's just that was the end of capital, that is a huge fucking accomplishment. And to throw it all away because they like got bought by a company is insane to me. And beyond that, it's also, why have we already decided what it's going to look like and how it's going to be before it has ever been? You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So I just think it's like it's a bummer to see people kind of having that sort of like weird negative reaction over information that's like no one has the proper information to make that call just yet. We'll just see what it looks like, see what the rollout looks like. Could be bad. Like I said, I don't want to get too in my own shit. It could be bad.
Yeah,
but
we're just gonna see.
I would say that if I were a betting guy, I would say ain't no way capital compromised on a bunch of shit that quickly.
I was gonna say,
but who knows, dude?
If I were to put my money somewhere, I would say I'd be very surprised to find that capital switches up their whole shit and becomes a whole different company with a new set of values that they have stood on so stringently for years and years and years. So I think it's not something to quote unquote worry about.
No.
And also it's like I talk about this in like the title fight thing. It's like, well, who's to say title fight can just do whatever they want to fucking make a new album that sounds different, do it. Who cares? Like that's their creative.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do. I think something squeaking. Oh, I think it's his. I think it's your shoe on the chair.
Is it? Oh.
I kept thinking.
I thought it was somebody outside.
Little mouse.
So I mean, I totally agree with what you're saying. I think that it's just like, just look at the work, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, then we'll decide from there. And I understand that there could be business moves that affect us. I mean, we're a multi-brand retailer. I don't rely on capital to push us through, but it's a big brand for us, and it's a brand that I've loved and cared and fostered, forever now. And I really, and that's coming from a guy who doesn't like wear a ton of capital or anything. I just think that what they do is really important, and I hope that it remains that way. And I hope that all they get to do is like, get a bigger stage and then continue to do what they do.
Yeah,
that would be great. Why would you not want your friends to succeed?
Yeah,
I
completely.
Plus,
agree.
Like I said, fashion needs a shake up, and if it's going to mean a bunch of smaller brands start to like come up as like, now we're a bigger influence. I would argue that capital is a bigger influencer than Loewe.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean? And Loewe is
everybody knows
it's a bigger
Loewe
brand.
And shit. Do you know anybody who owns Loewe product?
Well, I do.
We run in different circles, but
and globally it's important.
Yes.
I'm not trying to downplay anybody else. That's just the first one that came to mind, and I love what they do. So
for the record, I like the shoes in the bag accessories.
It's great.
I'm not really in tune with their clothing though. I'm not sure.
I think you'd be surprised at how much you like it. It's being run pretty well these days, and
cool.
It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is that like that's a big international brand that has a ton of backing, that is like makes a huge impact. That people see runway. It affects. Why would I not want capital to be doing that? Like I can understand like, oh yeah, a few more people know about that, and that'll stink because like it was fun that we all knew it when it was small, but you still knew it when it was cool.
And
you still have the shit before anyone else did. And I think everyone should start picking up the pre-LVMH era and the new era, because the new era might look a whole lot different. Maybe it doesn't look different at all. Maybe the quality goes up because they're able to afford. I mean, Japanese building things and making things in Japan right now is at the most expensive it has ever been, and it's probably only going to get worse based on how the factories are doing there from the information I have. So could just be because they need certain amounts of money to do the thing, to keep doing what they're
Yeah,
doing.
great, dope.
I have a funny feeling they weren't struggling financially, but I don't know. Maybe that's also the case. And, would you rather it go away or give it another shot in a different way? I don't know. You know?
I have a question
Let it be
for
what
you.
it needs to be.
In regards to like musicians, are there any musicians you could think off the top that were really low? Then I'll hit you with an example. Really like lo-fi, underground, that then got fucking massive, but is still doing a cool thing. And my example would be like Alex G. You know what I mean?
Oh, he's still doing it like at such a great level.
I think Alex G is still as true to form as it could be. His sound has changed over time, but it's still very much so his. We don't get music as often, but he's scoring movie soundtracks, and I think probably feels pretty creatively fulfilled. And everybody, I haven't heard anybody complain when a new Alex G record comes out that it sucks. It's all fucking good. So
yeah. I mean, I can think of a lot of like older examples. I think Elton John always did this. I think Brian Eno has always done this. Brian Ferry, David Byrne. I mean, people that continue to do weird shit, and like the mass appeal did not affect them at all. They just continued to do what they were doing. I mean, most major artists, I would say continued to do whatever the fuck they wanted, despite how the fame looked.
Yeah.
I guess I could admit that I probably know more people who've kind of botched it a little bit, but that, it's a tough, growth is scarier than like having, any other sort of business issues.
Yeah.
So I see, I can see it both ways. So yeah, I think Alex is a really good example of someone who didn't compromise. I think, Mac DeMarco's a guy who didn't really compromise and was able to break wider. I mean, he's still making weird shit.
I was
still
gonna say,
seems
he might
like
even be
unusual
weirder,
character.
dude.
Yeah. I think some people use it. I mean, I think that even like Maddie Matheson has handled growing from what it was to now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an entirely different world for that guy, and
everything he touches still feels very much so himself.
feels like him.
He's also a mainstay character in the best show ever.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got like I think people that are able to brand themselves early on and then not compromise it. This is kind of why I'm like putting up for Capital. It's like they've put hard lines down and know exactly who they are and have done that same thing since. Just to be clear, when I carried them early on, it was slightly more conservative, maybe a little bit more denim focused, but I'm still telling you it was weird shit. You know what I mean? It was so much weirder than anything out there at the time. And they were doing things that like no one wanted to pay for at the time, because everyone thinks like, if I tell you, oh, it was deer skin and it was hand painted and there was only X amount, and everyone would be like, whoa, foaming at the mouth. At the time, I could not sell one to anybody. Nobody wanted it. No one cared. You know what I'm saying? They're like, why is it $200 more than everything else in the store? You know what I mean? That's all people gave a shit about. So I think that in the same way that like if you start out branding yourself in that way strongly, and then you don't compromise as things grow, that's when something gets really good too. You know what I mean? Because I think, Matty Matheson, for example, is at the top of his game. He's putting out great restaurants over and over and over again. He's doing cool things agriculturally. He's doing cool things in media, cool things producing on top of starring. I mean, like, it's as long as you don't compromise on those things and you can do it wider, and who gives a shit. If it's good, it's good. That's what I mean. Just judge the work. The work's the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
If the designs suck, the designs suck. But if the designs suck this is the thing that this goes back a long time ago to I'm sure Kanye was still bad then, and he's bad now. But at the time, when he was opening the brand, a lot of the issues that he was like discussing was like, the iPhone's the coolest phone, and it doesn't need to be the most expensive, and everyone can have the same one, and it can still be the coolest thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he wanted to do with clothing. And I always thought, oh, that's a really interesting thought, to take away that it has to be rare, or it has to be expensive, or it has to be crazy. It can just be the most common thing, and everyone elevates then. And I think that's really an interesting, way to think about things, that just because things break wider and get more popular does not make them bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just depends on how you handle it.
Yeah.
So let the work talk for itself. If it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone eats.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Who knows what'll happen?
Yeah.
And if they go away, then another one will come.
I was going to say,
Fashion,
there's a lot of brands.
This is what
doing a lot
fashion
of cool
industry,
shit.
music industry, film industry, all this stuff rules because it's run by creatives. Well, when it's done right, it's run by creatives.
Yeah.
And the way people get noticed, the way people do anything cool is by doing cool stuff. So people will continue to do cool stuff. We were just going over our like open to buy and getting all of our brands ready for or fall season and writing, because we're in kind of the thick of it. And there's like 10 brands that won't make the cut this season just because it's like, we got to bring in these ones and bring in these ones. And do we want to expand this category or this category? There's so much cool shit going on all the time. And there's so many new brands that are just getting started that are starting to evolve and age now. I mean, think of the genesis we came out of Like 'Em or Not through Virgil, of all these young designers suddenly popping up and thinking, I can just do this at my house. And look, did that also crop up a bunch of garbage? Of course it did. Of course it did. But most major artists, no matter what music, I love this meme. I don't know if you've seen the meme of the dad of them recording some, like, this is my girlfriend's dad. He's just cooking up fucking beats for nobody, never hits record, and like the shit rips,
Wait, really?
Yeah, and it's just like him in the background just doing modular synth and shit. And you're like, this.
He doesn't record it or anything. He just makes the beats.
And I think that that's so cool that like there's so many people out there that are doing that too, and the good stuff will make it. The bad stuff won't, and that's the coolest part about the business. And it's going to change. You know what I mean? It'll all be different anyway in 5-10 years. So it'll be different in a year.
Yeah.
And that's it. I know we've talked about this on the pod, but like, if you don't think that's cool or that's exciting about fashion, then why are you interested in fashion? Like, the whole point is that it's going to change.
Like, if you think it's just one and done and you've got it all figured out, it's like, probably not the case.
Yeah. And I think that like, a lot of young fashion people who've come in, to fashion more recently, especially at like kind of like these brand levels, are also seeing for the first time this kind of thing happen. This happens, especially in women's clothing, all the time. It gets talked about all the time. It's just a different news cycle that you're probably not reading. So this kind of stuff, brands come, brands go, brands get bought, brands change, brands evolve, designers move, all this stuff happens like all the time. And it doesn't, sometimes it means good, sometimes it means bad. It's kind of irrelevant because it's all part of this like thing that pushed things forward. So regardless of what you think of, and maybe you're just like, I'm down with LVMH. I don't love them. I don't love the things they do. I don't love what they stand for. That's perfectly fine. And then maybe that's going to put you off of Capital. And that's, that was a choice that Capital made. You know what I mean? Obviously.
Sure.
And I just don't think that they make inconsiderate choices. So I'm going to assume they have reason and thought behind them. I'm hoping, or they need it out. And that's also okay. You know what I mean? Like, they did a really cool thing for fashion that no one can take away. And all I'm for is like, I just don't like to see people being like, well, I'm off them. And you're like, oh, come on, dude. Like, so you're going to throw away everything that they've built just because you don't like this information. So you can call it, BCAD or whatever that is with Bible stuff, or whatever. What is that?
What?
Before Christ, BC and
before Christ, after death. Yeah.
So, anyway, like, I can see if you want to have those two visions of it, that's perfectly fine. You know what I mean? I think that they know that choice that they made. But
the thing is too, like, it's like not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of like being alive too. Like, if you're really up in arms about it, it's like, just close, bro. You don't gotta wear it either. And also, it's like, you might live in like somewhere in Missouri. Like, who fucking cares, dude? Like, it's fine. Like, just do the things that you like. That brand is doing something that they decided was the best option for them, and it'd be hard to imagine being in the position and not doing the same.
The old Claro records were better, but she looks cool now. Set design is cool. She's got a bigger audience. She's making good money. I'm happy for both versions.
Yeah.
Same shit.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Yeah. But it like also like I just don't understand people getting mad. Like, this is it. This is the fun thing that happened. What I think those younger, like people who've gotten into fashion, are seeing for the first time is, isn't it fun to follow the news of fashion? Which is what I was just complaining about on the last episode of like, where is that journalism gone?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because it's fun. It's fun to follow all this stuff and see what happens. And that's what's exciting. And, for every person who's like, I'm not going to buy Capital anymore. It's like, well, cool. What are you going to buy? You know what I mean? Like, what brand are you going to move to? What makes sense for you now? What brand is about to blow up because of that move? What, you know what I mean? Like, who knows?
Yeah.
Or Capital's going to come out of the gates fucking swinging, and you're going to be like, God damn, this is better than it's ever been before. Who knows? That's the fun part.
Yeah.
So just be excited that you get to follow all this stuff, and that's what we're here for.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. It's all good.
Can't all be the same forever.
No. That'd be so boring.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, you want to get into, we've seen people doing a couple people asked if we would do it, doing ins and outs for 2025.
Yeah.
So, little looser than like trend predictions or anything like that.
These are just like general and existing in the ether of the life.
We did this with our boys
last
year. Or was it 2 years ago?
Actually, shout out the Sunday Scaries, guys.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Shout out Will and shout out Barrett. I actually just listened to an episode of Sunday Scaries last week when I was unpacking. What brand was it? I was unpacking a brand, and they had a fella on that was like a big Styleform kid. So it was interesting to hear him talk.
Oh, interesting.
He's like talking, kind of shouting out some of like the regulars on Styleform. He got really into denim and was making jeans and this, that, and the other. But anyway, yes, we did this with the Sunday Scaries boys.
Yeah.
Ins and outs. Like you said, some of them were a little looser. It was like, all of them were pretty loose, but it was like open floor plans,
Yeah.
out. You know what I mean? We're not doing that.
Let's see here. Are you ready to get into them?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. You want to go
ins?
first?
We'll do ins, and then you do your ins. We'll discuss that we could do outs.
Do you want to bounce back, or you want to just do one at a time?
One at a time, just bounce back
Okay,
ins.
go ahead.
Bounce
Go ahead.
back ins.
You
ins.
start.
The first thing is pretty straightforward, but it will be regular fitting clothes. Not too skinny, not too big, not any one way or another. I think that it's going to be less every year that goes by, less and less individualistic.
Yeah.
And more about the fabrics and maybe the story and just like is it tasteful? I think that it's less individualistic, less loud, and then but that'd be my in, would be like regular fitting and more of the raw denim era where everybody was just kind of like down to have the good shit, and you didn't have your you're not posting your fits on Instagram or what have you, and it's not the craziest shit ever. It's you maybe you've pared down your wardrobe a little bit, and it's just things you feel good in.
Well, I think that what you're touching on is interesting in that. Trying to think of how to like word this. I think that like what you've started to see is like through. I don't know. My brain is so bad today, but oh God, I don't know why I'm so off today with trying to grab things. You know,
get the words.
The what was it called? The quiet luxury.
Yeah.
That was it. What you saw with that trend is people needing to attach a name to just dressing nicely. You know what I mean? Because I think that people see fashion as being, if it's loud, you're fashionable. You know what I mean? If you stand out, that's fashionable. And I don't get that. You know what I mean? Because that's not. I don't get it because it's not for me. Because I don't think that the loudest dresser is the best dresser.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that I don't know. I don't know where that comes from.
But the best dresser is a person who puts their clothes on and it looks good on them and feels true to them, and not that they're like at all projecting or doing a bit, or they're like dressing for how they actually are and not how they want to be perceived, maybe would be like the most succinct way of putting it.
Well, and I think that you can argue that sometimes having it be way more low key is its own statement. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? In given crowds. So it really depends on what your whole thing is. I just think that like for so long now, it's like, you'll see people like, you know, Pinterest, Instagram, whatever it is, you know, these things where it's like people's outfit inspiration. It's just loud, really wild styling. And it's like, that's great. And I think that's a super cool place to draw inspiration from sometimes. And there's also plenty of people, and I know many of them, that dress buck wild. And I'm like, it just totally works on you because it feels like this is not you making any sort of like specific choice. This is just like the way you dress.
No,
you know
those people will continue to dress that way.
Yeah, it's just how you put on clothes, you know? And I think that some of that reaction that you're having that I feel the same way on is now people being like, listen, I got into clothes. I experimented a ton. I've landed on the things that work for me. That tends to be a little bit more like it works in my regular life because I have to go to work and go out to dinner with my wife, and I can't be dressing. I can't look at, you know, buck wild all the time, or maybe you can. I mean, it depends on what your work is and who your wife is and where you go, you know. And I think that like you're seeing people like have to fit fashion to their like real world. You know what I mean? And I think that you've also seen a lot of younger people that got into clothes like evolve. You know what I mean? Like evolve their style.
Well, also
you know?
like mature. It's been, you know, if you got in when you were 20, 21.
And look, maybe you got lucky and for some reason like something really cool and sophisticated grabbed your eye first. Good on you. You got great taste. A lot of people have needed to go through a serious sneaker, like a serious kith addiction prior to being like, oh, now I'm going to kind of like blend that in. But I can tell you right now on the right person, right time, right outfit, I could see a kith sweatshirt on the fit and be like, fuck, looks sick.
Heat.
looks sick,
Yeah,
dude. You're
yeah.
putting it together. You know what I mean? You're putting it on. This is you.
Yeah.
And I love it. I think that's what I want to put out there as being in. It's not about just being regular, but just be yourself. Like,
Yeah.
make this work for you and you alone, and don't worry about if it makes sense with a certain community or niche or brand
Don't
or
tie it
whatever
to
it is.
don't tie it to a string of words.
Yeah.
How would you like to dress, and then just own that.
I think that being said, too, we've seen tight, we've seen big, we've seen big top, little bottom, big bottom, little top. We've seen all different versions of silhouette recently, because I think that's an especially easy place. Menswear only has so many places to go, you know what I mean? And like that's an easy place to play in menswear. We've seen it all, and I think what the response is more like, let's just have the clothes just be kind of regular. Like, doesn't need to be huge and oversized, doesn't need to be crazy boxy, doesn't need to be huge pants. We can just kind of straighten out and adjust, and then kind of like build those boxes for yourself, and then sort of live creatively in there.
Yeah,
I think is maybe what you're responding to, because literally on one of the outs I had, let me see and make sure I have it right. It's basically what I just said. Yeah, big and little silhouettes. I'm kind of done on top heavy, bottom heavy looks. Like, even it out a little bit. So we're basically saying the same way. I said it in an out way.
You're saying it, yeah, because my in was regular fitting, and then my out would be loud anything. Like, it's gonna be regular fitting, and the loud anything is gonna be out, but not loud anything. I don't know.
You're gonna put away the burrow jacket?
Well, that's what I was just thinking. I was like, no, the fucking burrow is here to stay.
Yeah.
But I don't view that as loud anyway, to be honest with you. I know that feels a little anomalous.
That's what I'm kind of getting at. You know what I mean? That's you. You know what I mean? Like, what Cole thinks of as loud, and what I think of as loud, and what you think of as loud is all different.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? Like, but my loudest piece is, you know, his tamest piece, or your loud, or your crazy, or something you'd never. You know, I don't know what. I'm not making this up, but
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it needs to be. I want clothes to be personality driven. You know what I mean? Style driven first, and then make it work into that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I think fashion lovers need to just become fashion lovers. We need to like step away from, you know, being just a sneaker guy or a streetwear guy or a this or quiet logo, whatever these different like categories they want to put everyone in. Let's just let it go and just appreciate a little bit of everything. You know what I mean? Because I still see a pair of sneakers and I'm like, I love those, but I'm not a sneaker guy. And I sometimes see a giant ass jacket and I'm like, I love a big fucking jacket. You know what I mean? And it's all okay. It's all good. You know, in fact, one of the outs I have also, mono branding. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not getting swayed into it. I'm not doing anything. I'm just buying whatever I want, mixing it however I want, and then that's what it is.
Yeah.
And then, because otherwise it's not me anyway. And look, I like the idea. And if that's your deal, I think it's a super easy way if you're like, I don't want to follow this. I don't want to change my style up all the time. I just want to have, these are my go-tos. And you want to buy all from one brand because it all will work together and it will work inside of a palette. God bless you, dude. That's so sick. I admire your commitment. But I love clothes, and I'm going to change a million times, and I'm going to decide I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to decide I'm going to do that. It's all good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all good. Mono brand. I'm done with mono branding.
Mono branding.
I guess we should also say that these are like our personal.
These are our personal things.
Yeah. Not necessarily a reflection of But for me, mono branding gone.
Yeah.
Don't want it anymore. Yeah. I want to mix everything together.
Yeah. As long as German Shepherd color.
And I think that's like I have that in my end, dressing like a dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just think that like I really do kind of now believe in this sentiment because it's opened up a freedom into looking at clothes, of just being like, if it doesn't fit the color palette, well, ooh, shoot, that'll just kind of like, this season's not for me. You know what I mean? And then I'm going to make less mistakes because I'm not trying to inch outside of something that doesn't work, but I can go as wild as I want in there. If I want to mix up fabrics, if I want to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can do whatever I want. I just got to stay inside of this one world.
Yeah.
So maybe you could like create your own boundary, whether it's dressing like a German Shepherd like me, or it's, you know, whatever else, you know, I don't know what else. Dress like a frog, dress like a frog. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be animal related, I guess, to be clear. But
badger.
Yeah. That's your next. Okay, what do you got? We're still doing ins, right? So I still ins. Technically did my in then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, this is for myself and both hopes that it permeates into society. Moderation, in parentheses, everything in moderation. I'm trying to be less extreme in how obsessive I am about how my clothes are fitting, or literally in every aspect of my life. Wake up a little bit earlier, eat a little bit better, a little less in general, less candy before bed. Moderation in all aspects of life. Trying to tailor my expectations, and everything is a little more.
Like I've said to you for years, it doesn't need to be extremes to do something. You just do it a little bit.
Yeah.
And a little bit tends to lead to more. You
Yeah.
know, especially with like I think just as easily with bad habits, with good habits. Like once you start doing something, it doesn't feel like such a big deal, and then you get used to it, and you're like, yeah, a little more doesn't feel like a big deal. You know, or like whether it's getting up early, going to the gym, whatever the fuck your thing is. I think that's a nice thing to do of just letting go of it needing to be all in or all out.
Yep,
I think that's
100%.
kind of the mono branding thing for me. It's like just we don't need to.
It's just all in moderation, dude.
Yeah.
Just
do a little.
I don't have to only wear green pants, but if another pair of green pants comes in, I'll buy them.
Also, I'll break my rule tomorrow because I don't give a fuck.
Well, that's the thing too. Is like I don't
Yeah.
fucking care if I want to have 12 hot dogs, then I'm gonna have 12 hot dogs. That's I'm not gonna write that off as a possibility. So
You're doing a home Kobayashi.
yeah,
Okay, what do we got? Here I got a fun one. Let's throw a fun one out there.
hit me. Yeah.
Mood lighting. I'm going to take every light bulb that's an overhead light in my house out. And I know this is like a common, everyone says, but I've gotten deep into it lately. I've got little, big, medium. I got them all over the place now.
Are you
I'm deep
learned in lighting? Because Michelle has a book. If you want to borrow it, I can ask her. It's like
that will break the experimentation process where I move
Okay.
lamps to different places and
Yeah.
put them at different heights and then figure out what I like.
because that's what
So-
it is. It's talking about why certain lamps and lights are mounted at certain heights,
Yeah.
et cetera, where the window is and all of this, what window it's facing, and this,
How
that,
you're
and the other.
bouncing it and
Sure.
Yeah.
It overwhelmed me. I looked at it
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
second. I was like, well, that's too much. So
well, and this is on my end too, but sort of without being throw up kind of shit. It's kind of being intentional, but it's with dumb things. I think if you start with dumb things, you'll be good with bigger things, So lighting, I was just thinking I've had a tube of toothpaste for a while that I do not actively hate, and I'm like, why do I not just change this? You know what I mean? Why don't I just go, hey, I'll make this more of a process if I'm not just like, well, I got to get this over with. I spend a lot of time, I think you do too, of being like, I got to get this over with because then I got to get to the nothing. You know what I mean?
Timothy,
And I'm like, I just need to own that my favorite things to do are nothing. You know what I mean? Do monotonous tasks around the house and things like this. So let's just make those more fun.
I agree, dude. I agree. And
know?
in fact, recently, last couple times we've done our weekend trip to Whole Foods, I've been in there and been like, I'm not really in a big rush. We're gonna wrap up here and then we're gonna get home and then what? I'm gonna watch football, but it's not that I'm kind of just let's just go slow. You know what I mean?
I'll add it in right now, and it's like an everyday attempt to make my days last longer. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Of just going really slow to do everything I want to do instead of worrying about if I'm going to get this done and this done and this done. I'm not. It doesn't matter because I don't really want to. I want to even remove all the things I need to do. I mean, we're just having this conversation about here's how we're going to do cooking so that we're spending less time cooking and cleaning up during the week because that sucks. And we're not spending time. That's time we're not spending with each other. And I also don't want to feel like I'm rushing through it to do the next thing because there's already a lot to do. We got a kid, we got stuff, we got work stuff. We're already busy enough as people. I want to go, if I want to do the dishes, I just want to take the time to do them.
Yeah.
And it not be some huge deal. Or if I'm going to cook, I want to actually try to get better and learn something and do it slowly instead of just being like, I don't know, this and this, because then it's over. I just feel like all of it's so, just spending your time more wisely. You know what I mean?
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
So I'll put that on an in. I added one.
You know what? Something that might play off of that would be following more recipes. I got a lot of cookbooks. I want to make a dent in more of those. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you and I have Abby and I's problem is we don't make anything twice, so we never perfect things.
We're the opposite.
We don't. I don't want to say never, but not very frequently. We do one thing and we're like, cool, that was good, and then we move on, or we're like, it was okay, I would have done this, and that, and then we never do it again. You know what I mean? And I want to I actually kind of want to do the opposite of
See, yeah, Michelle and I, we have
you rinse things.
3 or 4 recipes that we've made well over 30 times each, and that's just in the last and think about 30 times of making the same recipe in a year. It's once every
but you get
half,
incrementally
2
better
weeks,
at it. You know what I mean? As you go.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. But broadening, cooking still, and still making the heavy hitters. There's a lot of things that I'd like to try that I know.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, one of her coworkers' mom is Hungarian, and she just received a handwritten recipe card for chicken paprikash, which is one of my favorite meals ever. So
I'd say it's an
first
easy dish to mess up.
Oh, we've tried it many a time.
I've had more bad versions than I have good versions. But when you get a good version, it's excellent.
Growing up, my friend's mom would always make it, and they would invite me over on nights where they were making paprikash, because I would say that's single-handedly my favorite plate of food is her bowl of egg noodle chicken paprikash. So fucking good. So anyway, that'll be the next thing that I cook probably. Cook.
I had a Hungarian camp counselor at one of the 2 times I went to camp. Hated it both times.
Yeah, sure.
My whole heart. Didn't go to the bathroom the whole time I was there, and
Oh yeah,
because there's daddy long legs in the bathroom. I think I talked about this before. The Hungarian guy I forget his name. He knew some sort of like, I don't know if it was like Krav Maga. It was some sort of unusual fighting
self-defense
style
situation. Yeah.
And this one kid was like into, like, he took karate classes. You know what I mean? We were like little. I don't want to say little. We were young though. I don't know.
Like, what do you think? 12, 13?
Probably.
Yeah.
Between 10 and 13. Yeah.
It's that era of camp time. Yeah.
And this kid kept talking shit to him. You know what I mean? And being like, he's just making fun of this guy constantly. Like, they could beat him up. And it was like kind of obviously a joke because he's a kid, but like, I think he legitimately thought he could. So they at one point, he's like, fine, show me what you know from what your classes or whatever. He does a little thing and the kid makes fun of him being like, well, you're not actually going to like spar with me, basically. That was his thing. Is like, he wasn't actually fighting back. This guy's all like defense moves. He says, all right, give me one more. The kid goes to make a move. He does something so light, but flips the kid. And he hits like, when you hit, like, it's mostly dirt, but there's some grass. You know the way that sounds, that boom, poof sound that it makes?
Yeah.
It made that and like smoke, from the sand rose. And we're like, he like Mortal Kombated this kid. I couldn't believe it. And he goes, and he said something like, see, now you don't talk anymore. And it was like, that kid never talked shit again.
Well, hey.
But also, like, I don't think that guy should have probably
tossed his ass.
Yeah, tossed that kid around. But I do think of it a lot as, it was funny. It was funny. It was okay.
That's sick. Sick. Yeah.
Okay, so where are we here?
It's like that one video where it's clearly like a substitute teacher, and he's doing roll call, or somebody throws something and he goes, whoever threw that, your mom's a hoe. And it's just like, when you cross that threshold.
That's where this Hungarian fellow had gotten to. Yeah. Where he was like, okay, all right, fine. You know what I mean? You've broke me down.
Yeah. So that's funny. That's funny as heck.
All right, who's up?
I could do another in.
Okay, go.
For me personally, I feel underwhelmed and generally over hip hop and trap. The new Lil Baby record came out, and I like that intro. I like that tune that has Young Thug and Future. I like the Rod Wave tune. And I'm sure that there are tunes from the record that I will enjoy, that I will find at a later time. But I just can't be bothered to listen to a whole hip hop record. I think I've heard all of the ones that I really love, and I'm still listening to the same like fucking 10 Future songs. And I go through.
When even you has had too much repetition inside of hip hop, something's up,
Yeah, and but
I've said this for a while. This where it's just like no one's doing anything interesting. I just don't hear anyone doing anything interesting.
And the argument I can hear people saying, "Well, Playboy Cardi." I don't care about Playboy Cardi. I don't think it's good.
Well,
I don't understand.
What's he going to do if he doesn't have Kanye to copy? Is the problem? You know what I mean? Then no one's going to do what he's doing now. So it's like that's a little bit the problem. Is like there isn't like one trailblazer right now. And if anyone says Kendrick, get the hell out of here. It's like we don't have anybody doing like interesting like production, and it just the boundaries need to be pushed on a little bit, but no one's asking for it to be pushed, so it won't get pushed.
Yeah,
and nobody that's like has enough of it. An audience, you know what I mean, where it would really be influential is doing anything all that interesting, in my opinion. This is all in my opinion. I'm sure people are going to call out a bunch of stuff, and that's great. Then I'll hear things that I don't know, and maybe I'll change my mind. That would be great. But I will say it's just, I mean, look, genres go through this. They get boring for a while. Somebody does something, things change a little bit. New crop of people come in. It just needs one of those. It needs a shakeup, though, because it's...
Yep, I just don't care anymore. I like the things that I like. I listen to the same 3-4 Atlanta rappers, and I listen to, if Lucky puts out a new record, I'll listen to that because I do think his sound is interesting. But I don't know. I just don't care. Maybe I'm just getting older, and I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't do it for me anymore. So what is in is not hip hop. So what I'm drawn to still is Mark Cause. Anything Mike Kinsella has touched, primarily Owen, his side project.
See, I think this is what I think a little goal for you should be. Is like, that's fine. That's a great, subsect of things, and those are iconic people inside of those genres.
Mhm.
Let's get you inside of that genre, and let's get you going down to that part of the Spotify where it tells you other people to listen to. Try a couple new people out.
I would like
that sound
that.
like that. You know what I mean?
I
Hit the
would like
radio
that.
button and see if you can find a couple new people to throw in the mix.
Well, when you play music around here, there's some things that catch my eye, or catch my ear, and I'll say, "What's this?" And I couldn't tell you any of the things that they were. You know what I mean?
This is the other thing. You can't slip with music. This is
Yeah.
a big concern of mine as I get older, because it is notably harder to find new stuff than, I mean, even with the technological advances, like, I'm just not young and listening to music 24/7 and getting plugged in from every single person I know and at parties and people playing things or mentioning things. And you're just not as connected. So you have to do the work. And now I got to do the work. So I do the work, but I sit down at least 2 times a week. Nothing else, not looking at my phone other than to play music, and then I just listen to music. Or I play it on the record player and shit like that. If I get locked into something I really like, I'll buy it. You know, things like that. But I really try to keep it going and finding new things. And like, I'm really regimented about making monthly playlists for myself so I can remember what I was listening to like last year, or just to like rediscover things. But that's tricky because, you know, half of me gets like locked into something and then I just want to listen to that, you know, 100 times over, and I still do that. I just try to mix in a little new with that.
For sure, and I'm definitely open to that. But I might even make a bigger statement and say that I like don't really want to listen to much music this year. It's just like music is not. It hasn't interested me in a while. I love listening to music, but I haven't felt the pang of excitement from discovery in a long time. And so I think really the if we're talking content I want to consume, I just want more podcasts of just people just talking.
See, I think that like when I've gotten myself in like that sort of situation, you know what I'm saying? Of your situation, I changed the way I'm consuming the music. So maybe that's like I do it at the gym, or maybe that's I do it at night while I'm doing something. You know what I mean? Or maybe it's I take a walk and I only do music on the walk, or on your drive in. Like, change the way in which you're consuming music, you know what I mean? So that you can like make it a little bit more intentional when you're doing that thing. And then, like I said, just hit the radio thing and just be open to like, you can just skip it if you don't like what it is, you know, who cares, you know? And then I think like it's so often that I'll be like, you know, painting or cleaning or whatever the hell, you know, and I've got music in, and it's gone on to the next thing, usually on YouTube or something, and I'll get hit with something where I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go find my phone. Where's that thing at? Because I gotta figure out what this is.
Yeah.
Because it'll almost be like, because your brain's not thinking about it, that it like finds things it likes better.
Totally.
So
just
sometimes I think it's just like a shake up. It doesn't have to be like, because I'll agree. Sometimes I'm just like in a phase where I'm like, just nothing's connecting. I don't really like. I'm just not into music right now.
And it's like annoying. I'll turn on whatever genre. I'll turn on and be like, I just don't want to. This is like I don't want to populate my space with sound right now.
Yeah.
Or I'm willing to listen to a podcast. Whether it's I still like my murder mysteries and shit. I like people just talking.
Yeah, but like I've got burnout on that. Like I don't have any more space for that.
There's only a couple that do it for me though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I might skip through 5 beginnings of podcasts before I listen to one full 45-minute episode. You know
sometimes you just gotta take a break from something too, and then come back to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's what'll also happen. I like won't listen to music that much for like a month, and then suddenly something will grab me, and I'm back in heavier than ever. Same thing with like podcasts. You know what I mean? Like I'll take a break and not really listen to them, and then suddenly, you know, I'm all in. Yeah.
You know, maybe I'll dig through more Coast to Coast AM, old things. I think I found the sweet spot of sound that I like, both music and radio. Like I like old Coast to Coast radio shows and radio shows from that era at all. You know what? Like Casey Kasem. Remember going?
Yeah.
Fuck, I'll fucking listen to some archived Casey Kasem.
Casey
episode.
Kasem.
I would listen to that on seventh grade on the way in. Whatever radio near me got that. So
I respect it. I don't think no music should be anybody's goal, but
no,
I hear you. I hear where you're at.
But I just other ways to consume things, because right now that isn't doing it for me. It feels like a thing that I do because it's a thing I do, not because it brings me joy.
Yeah, no, I get you. I get you. I did just hear this band recently, Armlock. Shout out Jonty. I was talking to him about it. They're from his neck of the woods. They've got like, I think it's a record, but it's like a short record. It just soup to nuts rips, dude. It's just such. It reminds me of
what's
like
the sound like?
Grungier, like Pinback.
Oh hell yeah!
Sick.
That tune Penelope by Pinback is a
Pinback's an all-time band. First of all, it's metalheads that did indie music. Yeah. And so sign me up.
Sick, yeah.
You know, it's the same thing with like that one Seosin EP. It's the only reason I write it is because it's basically.
I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna listen to that today when I write some orders.
And this record it's really good, and it was The recorded versions are excellent. I really like what they're doing. It feels kind of like modern and edgy, but it's still. And then, but they have a live version of basically the whole record that's really cool and vibey. Like the filming is really cool. And in that version, they have this girl who plays bass for them, and she does the harmonies, and it like changes the whole thing. It makes it so much better. It is my new. Remember that Sunflower Bean song that we loved?
Memoria?
Yeah, but the live version, because we liked how the harmonies are.
Just recently,
this is just like that.
Something happened, and when I'm writing orders and stuff, I play music off YouTube because a lot of time I would go and listen to, YouTube only stuff that hadn't been published on Spotify, Rich Homie Quan and Young Thug, or microphones, live versions, Owen live versions, and it hit me with that. Hit me with the Memoria Sunflower Bean live tune when it's in the wooden room. And then also playing off of that, I just talked to you about this too. That Porches. Remember when Porches, when he was doing the live piano shit and the live acoustic shit? Infinitely better than his recorded things. Again, if that's what you want to do, bro, and that's what makes you feel whole, I fully support it. But the stuff that I love of his is the analog, just him singing with one piano, guitar, what have you.
Yeah,
really,
like, that is kind of like a magical performance.
Unbelievable.
I love live versions of anything. That's what, like, if I hear something I kind of like, I'll immediately watch the live version to see if like it really connects. But I also say in a music rut, YouTube is the way to go because YouTube takes things you forgot about. It's like it is the you and I of algorithms.
100%.
You know what I mean? Spotify's like, hey, you like this? This is like that, but 10% different. This is like that, but 10% different. And YouTube is like,
remember this thing you loved 6 years ago?
Remember that thing you used to listen to in your car all the time?
yeah.
In 2016, you're gonna love this shit.
Yeah, I agree.
So I
agree.
like that it's like herky jerky. Okay, we're definitely like probably.
How much time we on?
Oh, okay, we're great. Let's finish them up though. Let's go. Let's not.
Yeah, hit me with an in.
Am I bar soap? I'm not doing anything else.
Fuck
Bar soap. No liquid
is
soap. Bar soap only.
Yeah, we copped. I got some of the Binu Binu shit.
Yep.
I got Hanyeo Sea Woman. It's not my favorite one, so I'm excited to work through that and try another one. It doesn't have much of a scent. It's very subtle, so it's not.
I don't always mind that too. This is the thing. Also, just get multiple scents. I don't know why anyone's
but
trying
I don't
want to.
I don't want to start a new one.
Oh,
while
who cares? What are you gonna?
Through.
You could die tomorrow, brother.
That's
Try
fair.
the soap out. Pop it open. You
the
get
next
a couple
one is
dishes.
the Korean.
I got
scrub.
that one. I love that one. I love the Corpus ones are really great. I've been running through those.
Yeah,
I got a Flamingo Estates recently, and the mint one. It's fantastic. It's like washing your. It's also it's got the stuff on it. You know.
Do you buy exfoliator?
Yeah.
Do you buy any of the? Because I love this, and I've always been the person like I don't use bar soap, but I would love to. When you go to Whole Foods, they got the pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
You like those?
I'll go to any natural grocery or any sort of hippie location just for the soaps.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
They got weird shit in them and stuff. Like you can see like plant matter
Yeah,
in them
sick,
that falls
dude.
out.
Yeah.
There we go. Now
Okay,
we're
that's
really
so cool.
talking.
Okay,
That's great
well-
too. So that's a nice budget one. When you're like, I really want to get in there and I want to scrub the shit out of myself, but I don't want to necessarily use the expensive stuff.
Yeah, sure.
That's the way.
Hell yeah. Okay. That's exciting. I completely agree. I'm glad you said that, and I'm gonna put more intention behind it because body washes also kind of irritate my skin. Typically, I have very sensitive skin, as we've talked about.
It's like they don't do as much. I don't know now. I'm off them right now.
Either they irritate my skin and make me feel like I have sunburn, or I just don't like them.
Bar soap just looks cooler, and there's a lot more accoutrements to buy also, so it's like a whole lifestyle.
Yeah, bar
change.
soap's sick, dude.
Yeah.
And again, you go to Whole Foods, I smell them all. I love looking at them. I love seeing the ones that have the textures and some are clear with little things in them. I love it. So I'm fully on board with that, in a complete agreement. I couldn't be more excited. And in fact, I forgot we got those Corpus guys, and I bought one a long time ago. But before I had the Binu soap holder, it would fucking get all wet and then disintegrate in the shower. So now I got my new setup. We're good.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yep.
Cool.
Great.
I know Machane's in on this too, so we'll be balls to the wall.
Right.
I have an in.
Go ahead.
It directly corresponds to today and moving forward. Then I have a couple things I want to talk through within this section. Doing hobbies, really. Actually getting into hobbies and fucking seeing them through. Because I'm famous for getting into things, knowing 5% of it, deciding if I like it or not, and moving on. And typically watching TV shows or playing video games or doing something else that doesn't really matter. I'm going to really, I thank you to my beautiful better half. She did helped me organize and did a whole situation in my office, and now my drafting table is no longer encumbered with all of the things that I've collected over the years that I don't know what to do with. It is nice and clean. on it right now is the Canoe Club logo that I will be leaving today to go home and paint, so that if anybody is interested in sign painting or logos or design or whatever, I'm taking the logo and painting it. So we're going to update the logo by whatever percentage it goes from being digital to painted, and then I'm going to keep all those imperfections and the organic feel in there. So back into sign painting, back into painting in general. But I have this hobby that I think is going to be really fun, and I'm going to buy the supplies for it tonight. I'm going to make a football. Because I was looking when we were watching football yesterday. I obviously brought the football to Cooper's house, and I was looking at it.
Obviously,
And I was thinking, like,
football, you gotta
I gotta have the football on me. So, but I was thinking, like, this is a fun tactile object, whether you like football or not. I think that you get the same satisfaction from making, I think, the stuffed leather animals you can get from Real McCoy's. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna make a football. I want to buy some tan suede, and I'm gonna do the ornate stitching on where the laces are and stuff. But that's the first thing I want to do is I want to try to get back into hobbies, back into working with my hands, making little things, fucking doing physical things, less consumption of video games and or TV. That is.
But yeah, I'm in my art supply era, and I don't watch TV. I don't do anything besides listen to music and do that and zone out. I am on another planet. Just it's great for me because I like to have arguments in my head and stuff, and I can't do that if I'm busy thinking
how to make the thing,
how to do the thing. Yeah. And I just started using like I think it's pronounced hake brushes, and then using sumi ink.
Sick.
Very cool. Plus art supplies is like a whole fucking, I thought guitar pedals was fun. This is like you can spend like $40 and have a good time. You know what I mean?
Have you been to the Meiningers down on Broadway?
Yeah.
In Denver?
I'm a Blick man.
Is there a Blick in Denver?
No, I wish. Otherwise I would be there. I'm online just fucking giving Dick Blick all my money right now.
Yeah, bro.
Big Dick is running me down. I mean,
Brother.
I've spent a considerable amount of money recently.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have it all.
Plus you start realizing like there's levels to it, like in fashion, you know what I mean? And I'm immediately at level 10, baby. I'm not going for anything. I bought a $30 thing. It's like five sheets of paper. I haven't even opened it. It came in a box, and I'm like, 5 pieces of paper come in a box is $30-something. I'm like, done.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I just want to own that thing because it's cool.
Well, in regards to, there's a couple things I want to say. Have you popped into Two Hands?
Yeah.
Okay, because they have the handmade paper. So if you ever want to make something that you're like,
the thing is, you don't understand. That's bottom of the barrel, baby.
Oh, it
and
is.
That's it's still nice. Don't get me wrong. Two Hands is great, really cool stuff. It's more for office supplies specifically, but like it really gets buck wild, dude.
Yeah,
buck wild. I want to eventually just get into doing only canvas. You can get crazy in canvas.
Would you stretch your canvas?
I've talked to a couple people, and they're basically just like, nobody does it unless you're a serious like oil painter or something. And I don't like oil painting because the smell really offends me. I don't know what it is, but it makes me feel sick to my stomach, and I don't like the way it. I'm not an artist, dude. Like, let's just put this. I liked doing it when I was a kid, and I like doing it now because it's good for me mentally, and I like collecting the stuff.
Sure.
So it's really fun.
Have you popped into Gyrie's down the street on
No,
Pearl?
No. I went there once a long time ago.
So
for
like
something,
you walk in, there's industrial paint. Like
sure.
If you're like a contractor and you need your paint mixed to specification and shit, they do all that there. Then you go a little further, and then you're in like, if you want to hire a lady to like help you pick out what colors to paint your kitchen and all this and that, they have the color swatches, they have the consultants and desks and this and that. But then if you go back to the corner, there's a full service art store, and then in the back is, I believe, canvases and wood if you wanted to build canvases. But I would recommend you at least just pop in there, because I think they've got a really solid assortment. It's not the size of Meiningers in Denver, or Meiningers, or however you would say it. But I really do like the Gyrie's. So when I was painting a lot, that would be my main place I would go to buy paints and to buy shit. So anyway, I know you like Dick Blick and Dick Blick rules. I've only been in one.
I just like the website's great.
Yeah.
But obviously support local art stores. That rules. Yeah, so it's just like I'm with you on that. I'm all in on. I love hobbies. Yep. Just got some new pedals.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Got to rewire that situation.
Let's
got
go.
a new synth because I traded a bunch of stuff out.
Yeah.
I got things to do. I'm setting myself for a nice summer. I love summer hobbies in the summer for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, the window open. You're doing your things. It's light until forever. We got to keep going. We're really running this motherfucker out. Yeah, we're okay.
That's all good.
All right, I got an in.
Hit me with an in, and then we can switch to outs.
The bathroom pose.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen it coming. I've seen you guys doing it. I recognize you. I love and appreciate this community of people doing the bathroom pose. Something that I think is the most humbling experience, and I love the way it looks. So we need a name for it. I need the Discord to get together. This is like what you're built for.
Paint the picture. Paint the picture of what it is in case people aren't
look in a
already
dream
familiar.
scenario for this thing. First of all, it's the most you go to the bathroom and there's a mirror that does not go to the ground because you're in like a regular house or something or apartment, and you need to stand on something, usually like the bathtub
It's the edge of your bathtub, yep.
or on the toilet or something, so that you can get the whole outfit in. You know what I mean? It's just perfect.
I've said it before. I know the muscle memory of walking up the stair or out of my room or up the stairs in my college apartment, whipping, coming into the left, grabbing the rod, popping up on the side, getting a little 1-2, looking at the shoes, getting the whole kit, and then out the door.
It's great. It's great. Just imagine doing that, but now you have all your nice clothes. It's not just like your, Abercrombie fit. Like this is it. It's time to come back. I think that if this community really gets behind the bathroom pose, we get a nice name for it. We get a write up in GQ by the end of the year.
100%. Let's do it.
Let's get a name behind this thing. Let's get this thing branded. Let's get it out there for people.
Yeah.
So that we can own it and say that customer service. We called the bathroom pose. We just need a name. It needs a catchy name.
Yeah, think of what it is. But you know the deal. Like Timothy said, you're standing on the toilet, you're standing on the bathtub. I mean, I've stood on countertops.
Yeah.
I'm not above it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just get crouched down.
Yeah.
Hard style.
Yeah. This is a college apartment.
You got ins? You do need to do a couple, or how are we doing?
We could switch to outs. My other in would just be home stuff. We're like we're
make
in
that space nice, baby. Get cozy.
Yeah.
Colors for me: brown wine, charcoal. I think this is a thing, and it's very. think like it's like old elegance. It's like old. It's like old leisure clothes. You know what I'm talking about? I like this mixture. I think a little bit more of a dark, sophisticated palette is where we should be.
Say the colors.
I had brown, wine, and charcoal.
That's the interior of a house that I want to live in.
Okay, well, great. So start to match
it's like a steakhouse.
You got to manifest,
what I mean?
bro. So like maybe it's time for you to start, But I'm talking about like ox blood shoes.
Yeah, dog.
Black socks, dark jeans kind of deal. Like that's sort of the look.
Cool.
I like it.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. We want to look like we live in old houses.
I want to live in an old house in New Hampshire, dude.
Not open floor plan houses.
No, tight little rooms.
We dress like we live in closed, a lot of rooms.
Ornate trim on doorways and shit type shit. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's been painted over 16 times.
Yeah, man.
I think that's it. That's good for ends. That's good for ends. You want to move to outs?
Yeah.
I got one right off the bat. We got to stop calling clothes pieces. I'm
Pieces?
done with it. We're not calling it a piece. It's not a piece. You gotta.
Interesting.
It's too much for me.
Because I definitely call shit pieces.
Nah, we're moving on. We got to call them something different.
Just
dude.
jacket.
Yeah.
Heater.
Jacket. Yeah, just call it what it is. It's got a category.
Yeah.
I can't do piece anymore. I feel like, look, I love knowing and telling the story, all this stuff. But me being like, putting a T-shirt on Grailed and saying, "Look at this piece I got," is just.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
We gotta chill, dude.
I think that
piece is reserved for you only have one in your closet.
I was gonna say if the people out there that are wearing, I think there are pieces. But they're all jacket. They're also a jacket.
They're all jackets.
No, I
don't disagree 100. Yeah.
Like, if you get like a beautiful Issy pleated jacket or something, I think that's a piece. You know what I mean? But like,
I ain't calling please a piece.
But like, I have a Nanamika nylon quilted ripstop.
That's a jacket.
That's a jacket.
Buddy.
It's not a piece, dude.
Your only piece is the burrow. That's a piece.
That's a piece. Yeah, that's a piece. That's a piece.
That's a piece.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe we need to save this as its own category for the podcast later.
Yeah.
People submit us things, and we're going to tell you if you can call them a piece or not.
And I'll tell you, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Most likely not.
That's a whole other thing. It's going to be no 90% of the time.
Yeah, yeah. Here's an out. Tiny ass shoes. We're done with the little baby goat feet. We're done looking like baby animals. Just wear shoes that fit your feet. They don't need to be tiny little things.
You don't want any. We don't need chunky, obviously.
Just wear regular fucking shoes, dude.
We don't need to go back to too small. What is big enough that you're counting that? Like, or I'm assuming you're saying Vans are still good because
Plenty.
that's a small shoe.
I'm saying like when the sole is non-existent, when you're wearing slippers outside, that's too small for me.
Yeah, I mean,
Or
I've
when you-
never
when
been a
you-
Belgians guy, if that's what you're,
Belgians,
that
I'm not
never
even
like
sure
really
what's
hit
a
for me. But
Belgian shoes.
look, and keep in mind, we don't care what you do whatever you want. It makes you feel happy and vibey. But like,
Yeah,
I
this
definitely
is-
agree. Like that as a trend has like been like, all right.
This is exactly
chill.
what I'm referencing, Timothy. So to be more succinct, we're done with them. Unless they're chunkier with a legitimate sole and they're welted. But other than that, I really don't like. It's just like I don't think I've ever seen an outfit where I see these little tiny shoes where they've got their foot binded to squeeze in there. I don't think that this looks better than not wearing little tiny goat feet shoes. It's little tiny shoes. So I think Vans are plenty fine. If you want to wear a loafer, I think that's also fine. But like, have it be a little substantial. You know what I mean? Like, if you wouldn't crush your arch by pushing down on a shovel in them, those shoes are fine. But if you're gonna crush your arch and it's like you're barefoot, not fine.
I think just look at it and be like, does this seem like an outside shoe?
Sure.
You know, and if
Yeah.
it doesn't, then maybe we don't do that one.
Yeah. I just think that
You know?
I think we're good with that. You know, just
Okay.
wear regular, just regular.
Okay. You got kind of a theme going. Ironic merch. I think we got to be done with it. I know Noah wrote a piece about this. Sam Hine wrote a piece about this.
What would be considered
You know,
ironic merch?
no restaurant merch, coffee merch, all shit like that. People have already called this one, but I've really kind of agreed with it lately. You got band tees or nothing else. Nothing else. I don't want anything else, personally. Throwing it out. No novelty. How does this not appeal to you? Plain.
I don't agree with it.
Plain.
But what about like a Ralph's coffee hat? I think that one Abby has
Gotta
is
call it.
gas.
Yeah, it can still be cool, but I'm calling it dead.
Calling it.
Calling it dead. You can still do
yeah.
You can do literally anything you want. You think people are gonna stop wearing
Yeah.
Belgians because
Yeah,
we're like, don't
yeah,
wear small
yeah.
shoes? Do whatever you want.
I know what you're saying. Okay, I get you. Just plain. I mean, I typically wear mostly plain or shit anyway.
I'm just thinking like when it's like supposed to be funny,
yeah.
like, are like, oh, that's unique. Come on, let's Either,
No, I
either
got
it's
you.
something. Either I'm gonna ask you about the hat you're wearing, and I'm gonna get a long-winded answer that I don't want, or nothing. If I can tell by looking at you, like, oh, it's like a joke.
Well,
No.
I would
know
never wear
Rainforest
something for
Cafe
novelty.
tees, you know.
No, I don't think that's funny. I don't think dressing is funny. So it's similarly, I don't think music is funny either. I don't think any sort of like, we talked about this. I know you like him, but who's the guy? Ed? What's his name? Weird Al. Wow, say Ed.
Weird Ed.
Weird Al.
Weird Al. You still have it in your mind that I'm like a massive Weird Al fan.
He loves Weird
And
Al.
I'm not first when I was a kid I was
Yeah,
100% because that's who it's for. This
Yeah.
is like I've said before. I stand up for it in the same way I think people should be like, yeah, Star Wars was great, wasn't it? I'm like an adult now,
Yeah.
but like, it was really cool.
Yeah.
And I still like to watch them, keep up with them because it's fun, but it's not a personality trait for me. Weird Al's not a personality trait. I think that he was a nice guy who made fun parody songs for kids, and I think that's fun.
Yeah, sure.
Especially when you're the right age for it, that rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. But I agree with you. Similarly, like the no novel merch, I think, everything you do can't be a joke or be like, isn't it so funny that I did this, which is stupid because the right way to do it is this. Like all of that, I'd love to see that go out the door.
Let's just be sincere and then get judged off of that. Because if you're like, oh, it's just like, oh, he's just like a weird guy. You're like, that guy rules. Like I love
like
a weird
Chirabo,
guy.
he draws in like a book from medieval times with a Sharpie this thick around,
Yeah,
and
he's just
that's
doing his
really
thing.
him. You know
if
what
he
I
had a Stone
mean?
Cold Steve Austin shirt on, I would assume I'm about to get into a conversation about Stone Cold Steve Austin. If I ask about that shirt.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like that's the right vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying it can be thrown out. Let's just do it with sincerity. Let it be an advertisement for the stuff you actually are weird about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I wear a guitar pedal hat, which that is not a conversation I want to get into because those guys are.
But at least that's
I'm
true to
bad.
you.
They're really bad. But at least that's my world. You know?
Yeah.
It's gotta be part of your world.
You got a hat from a coffee shop in your hometown that you like. That's cool.
Okay, because they're your homies. Great.
Yeah, great.
Love it
That's
for you.
cool. But like a brand doing a ripoff of like the Trojan condom logo and putting it on a hat, I think is
Sure.
like immature and stupid.
Yeah.
So
Well, the joke's not funny. Like it's just
no, the
joke's not funny. So throw it away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What else you got? What do you got?
Texting a lot is out. I think we're gonna just send our succinct ideas and then you move on. and you don't need to text everybody in your life.
Schedule a call or nothing or an email. Everything should be in an email.
Or if I don't text you back, it doesn't mean that I don't like you. It just means like I'm not going to do it. So actually this year I need to be better about, I can't just like not do anything in my life, but like I really don't want to text, and I think everybody would be better. Actually, in fact, what I maybe careening toward next year, maybe what we plan on is you can email me and we can have an email chain.
This is my problem. I want to be available one way. If texting is your thing, and I know that about you, I'm like, oh, Cole text. I'm like, then when I need to get in touch with Cole, I'm gonna text him. And if I need to get in touch with this person because I only DM them for some reason, like for example, my brother lives in Japan, brother-in-law. It's easier than doing the one of the text services. I just DM him on Instagram. You know what I mean? That's how we chat. So log in Instagram, DM him, do my thing, get out of there.
Oh.
I'm fine that everyone has their way. You get to choose one. I'm not available on all 16 versions of talk because I can't keep up with it and I don't want to. And for the most part, I would, I do the thing nobody likes, which is if you text me, I'm going to call your ass. You want to talk? Let's talk. I'm available right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we can have the full conversation. 5 minutes, I'm done. What I don't want to do is text. Be like, all right, I'm ready to have this conversation. You text, and then you're like, oh, they're not going to text back for 3 hours, and then I'm going to have to like talk at like 9 p.m. about this. No way. I have moved on. You should have moved on.
100%.
We don't need to have a conversation that's ongoing for that long. That's crazy.
No, I just think
My
that's
opinion's
it.
changed since we started.
So the out is texting a lot, and the next out, and then let me say this, and I'll move in towards what the in is. The next out that is kind of relating to this is social media / self-branding. You said self-branding in terms of a brand. I think for a long time, everybody thought their Instagram had to have a clean grid, or they're this type of person, so they only do this, that, and the other. And I think that everybody can just be the person that they are and be less concerned about how they appear on the internet. Those are the outs, and the ins are interacting with people that you are around daily, and those people are the people who actually consume the time in your life. You guys, Abby, Gia, the 4 other people in my life I spend time with. I love my mom and my sister, and obviously I need to be better about calling them, but that's family, that's different. Everybody else in my life that I've ever interacted with, I still got love for you, and I'll still correspond with you. But I just think it's going to be a little bit less. I think I'm just going to focus on what's immediately in front of me more than anything.
I've said this for years, though. You run the Discord, right?
Mm-hmm. It's work, but that's work. And the Discord, this is different. This is different. I can separate that as work, and then also everybody wanting me.
Well, I'm just also saying, though, like, what I'm saying is, like, that is a version of social media.
Mm-hmm.
It's just different.
Mm-hmm.
I am pro alternatives to traditional social media,
but
which I think we're all going to have to look for anyway. TikTok sounds like it's going to die. Instagram been kind of a piece of shit for a long time. Like Facebook, I don't know. Unless you're doing Marketplace, you shout out Marketplace. I love what you're doing there. Rules. Shut the rest down. Keep Marketplace.
Yeah, dude.
Keep those freaks alive.
I'd even argue that Discord is a good example of what I'm arguing towards, where it's much more intentional.
I'm agreeing with you. I think that this is one of your classic going to 100% on one way when it's like, well, technically, I'm
down to walk
it
back. I'm down to walk it back. And in that Discord rules, I think that it's a really intentional way to, there's a lot, like, it just feels a little more genuine than posting a photo of everything you're doing on your Instagram story or Instagram to, paint a portrait of how you want the world to be perceived.
Tell me how you think about this. Tell me how you think about this.
Hit me.
Not talking to an audience and talking to people.
Great. Okay. That might be the most succinct way of doing it, is talking to the people you actually want to correspond with, not putting things out into the ether so that everybody who's there has an idea of the person that you want to appear to be. No.
So
because what's it fucking matter?
That I'm all for. I'm all for what you're saying there of like, join a community, whatever yours is. It could be broad and you have that on Instagram and that's great. You know what I mean? You have a huge impact. But if you're feeling like I'm posting things out there so that we can have a chat, great. You know what I mean? I think that's the way you should look at it. Is like, if you're gonna open the door to conversation or participate inside of a place where a conversation should be a part of it, then do that. But be in a place where you can actually like make that happen. So it's not just like then it feels like who are you doing all this for? Unless you're making money off of it, which I understand businesses have a place in those things, and I understand a lot of people's personalities are their business now. You know what I mean? So that's your thing. Do what you got to do. And I like to consume some of that media personally, but I also don't. It's a different thing. It's like you're just advocating for the average person to maybe spend a bit more time in a place where you might have a real conversation, whether that's online in a place, but in a place where you're going to actually open up a dialogue.
That's
versus being like, here I am for you to consume.
Mm-hmm. Totally. That's what it is. Is I'm not a product for you to judge whether you like or not because I don't fucking care.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't like what I post on Instagram, I don't have it. You know what I'm saying? I can't really nail down what it is. I don't know. I think, yeah, having a conversation rather than putting yourself out there as you're offering yourself as a product.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that like even like the Discord and other things that we do, we've attempted to basically recreate the like early versions of Instagram and things like that, where it did feel more like you share a picture and you assume that like your friends are going to see it and you're going to talk about it, and it's kind of like a fun way to connect when you guys can't all be together because no one's all together all the time.
But I think people
and I don't want to be, so I like it's a nice outlet. You know what I mean? But
I think a lot of people would say that their Instagram is more how they really view themselves than how they actually are in real life.
It's helping you and making you feel great. I think that's great for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Great
there is value if you feel good about it, but I'd argue it's
I can
so
imagine a world where like doing that and people like, let's say like I struggle with, I don't know, cleaning up my house or some shit, but like if I put that on Instagram because I like to take pictures of my place or whatever, that helps me do that thing and it makes me feel good when people like the thing I created. Great. You like that and that makes you feel good?
Sure,
Oh,
but what, something you touched on earlier in the conversation that I thought was really cool is the fella who's making beats, not recording it, just in there cooking up. And I think that's the energy that I'm trying to harness in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
That's where for me personally is just like what could I do in this moment that's going to make me feel good?
I think
whether
overall,
there's an outcome or not.
Yeah, if everyone could move 10% more in a direction of not worrying about what other people think about them and just trying to do the things that you really like, I think that's a better world.
Yeah.
You know, I think that is like a pre-internet world was more in that line.
Yeah.
But you're not going to like, you can't put the snakes back in the...
You can't. There is no pre-internet world that you could feasibly live anymore. And another out in 2025 is me going on diatribes about social media and things like this.
So
actually,
you're getting one more
care.
in?
I'm getting one more
in. Yeah.
I slipped it in. That's the last one. I don't give a shit what anybody does. But I do think that the life feels better with the folks you actually are around daily.
Listen, man, I think that you and I have talked about this a lot, and I'll hit on it one more time. Just, I don't care what you do. Just be passionate about it and care about it. That's all I give a fuck about. I don't like when it's like, everything's a job and work and this and that. Mm-hmm. Just care about what you do, and then if you're like, if you hear what you say and you're like, no, I don't give a fuck. Instagram rules. I love it. I feel good on there. I like what I get from it. Blah blah blah. And be like, great, fucking sick, dude. Then I'm wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're right. It's that's the whole. Everyone else is good. If it's making you happy and you're chill and you're not bothering anybody else, I think you're doing a great work.
I think that's the best way to put it. So my out is no more diatribes about social media and shit. Do whatever the fuck you want. But since we're talking about the in and outs for our personally, I'm just gonna keep going down
start
that
at the
path.
beginning, and the right thing is moderation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dip in, dip out, baby. I log in, I log out once a day. That's it. That's my time on there, and then I move on. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I don't think about it at all. And I try to actively do things more and more that keep me away from those things because that makes time go slower. You know what I mean? All that TV, quick things like that, Instagram stories, all that shit, it's super fun. It's so fucking fun. And it's so addicting. You know what I mean? Just like every drug I've ever tried, just like everything. Cigarettes, my favorite thing in the world. The best thing is, the only thing better than one cigarette is 25 for me. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, but it's not good. It's not good for you. So if I could have one, that's what I would do. But I can't, so I don't do it. But like, so if that's your precaution, for you, because it's like, oh, I just can't have any involvement with it because I get too sucked in, then don't do it. That's great. That's a great call to make for your own person. You know what I mean? But do I want to disparage like younger people from like blasting the cig while you've been out drinking? Because it's like the coolest thing and most fun thing in the world. Do your thing. If that's not going to bug you or bug anybody else, hell yeah, baby.
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing. Jump in, jump out, do a little bit. Don't get too sucked in. Real world stuff is better.
Yeah.
It's not trying to do the touch grass thing, but it's just like, just look at real stuff because it's easier for your brain that's, basically
like real shit. Yeah.
designed to be, an animal.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Here, let me wipe what I said about social media. Do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. I stand by the texting less though.
200, that's fine. I agree with you there. Like I said, you get one. I'm available on one source.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm available by phone. You need to get in touch with me. No, most of the time I'll pick up the phone.
Yeah.
We'll wrap it up in a couple minutes and be out of there.
Easy done. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't express myself well in text messages. I make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And okay. Do we have any more?
No. Sports betting is in. Remains in.
Yeah, there we go. Let's promote sports betting at the end of here. No, I kind of all my other stuff kind of got said in the middle of it. You know, I put worrying on here. I want to worry less. That's just me.
Yeah, dude, that's tough.
I'm
though.
fucking sick of it. I don't.
You're a
care.
worrier, though.
And it doesn't work. It's never worked for me, so I don't know why I'm continuing down a path of doing something that doesn't work for me or anybody else.
Yeah.
So I'm just not gonna worry about it. And then,
Yeah.
who cares?
Yeah.
If I run the ship into the land, then I'll live on land.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you know. Okay. Do we have anything else? What's new in? Do we got new stuff or no? We're kind of in between.
We're kind of in between.
Is this Thursday? This will
yes,
come out
this
Thursday.
comes out Thursday.
Sale hit today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
At the
first
time
round.
of this airing, Discord has either had it for a day or is getting it today.
mhm.
And then the website will switch over Friday, I
Yep.
believe.
So
Is
do
our
that. But
cadence
there
we're
should be
planning
a
on.
bunch of restocks too, are kind of in the mix. So.
Yeah, water is still en route. The problem is, I don't need to get into it.
So
It's helping
we've
in
done those
customs,
ones. They're on the
CDG,
way. Nobody
yeah,
cares
yeah.
about the logistics, but it's on the way.
coming.
It'll all get restocked. If you're looking for something in particular, get signed up for the out of stock notifications. You'll get them.
I'm going to import Capital today.
There's
and that
Capital, Real McCoy.
I would say
tomorrow?
Safely Capital comes Monday.
Okay, Real McCoy should be online by now, I think, or close to.
Real McCoy's?
Yeah, because it arrives tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
There's a couple other like spring things that are starting to knock on the door too, so we should start seeing a lot of new stuff. So we got stuff going on as usual. So hit us up. Drop us those pictures of you standing on a bathtub, and let's name that motherfucker.
Yep.
And let's get that going. We want to be in GQ by 2020. By the end of 2025, it gets written up because it's so out of control.
Yeah.
We start the wave now.
Yeah.
Let's also hit us with questions and stuff. We haven't done like answered questions in a while, so let's get a new crop and we'll answer those, and hopefully you like the new format we're working through, and it'll get better, and we'll do our thing.
Dope.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool.
Coolgy.
Coolgy.
All right. Bye.
Bye.